Hello and welcome to Down the Slope. We've got a cheeky wee transfer window close-in special for you guys, and we're hoping that we're going to have a very busy couple of hours to come. And we're joined by, well, I'm joined by, sorry, some very wonderful guests here. We've got Craig, Liam, and of course Dave. If anything special is going on, Dave likes to be involved. So we'll come to you first, Dave. How are we getting on?
I'm very well, thank you. Looking forward to it. I'm well set up for the evening. A nice little Vesper Martini, and every time we sign a player, I'll make another one. How's that go?
Hey, no, that sounds like a plan. And Liam, yourself, how are you getting on?
I'm doing well, mate. I'm
Oh,
um, I'm pretty low on energy this evening, but I'm hoping that Hibs are gonna inject some energy into my evening with a few new faces.
hey, and Craig, yourself, how are you getting on?
Very, very good. I've had a frantic evening so far. Just secured my Oasis tickets just to annoy everybody in the live stream. And now I'm looking forward to Hibs doing some business as well.
Hey, wonderful.
I like that Craig secured the tickets as well. Didn't he purchase them? He secured them.
Yep.
You know it, Liam.
In the transfer window, well done.
Hey. And just to say, guys, if you can see me kind of frantically looking around the room, I think that we are actually live on YouTube now. And I'm just going to give a quick refresh to my page. And if we are, yeah, no, we're good. We're good. Okay, we can actually crack on with things.
We're
So,
cooking.
apologies, boys. Being honest, I asked these questions. I didn't really listen to the answers, so I'm just going to assume you said some great things, and we're going to crack on with the rest of the stuff. So essentially, so far today, the main thing coming into the day, is the fact that Luke McCowan was supposedly our lead transfer target for the season. And Celtic dropped a bombshell on us and they put the bid in. Apparently, it's rumoured that they went 1.2 million, which I probably think's out of the budget that we'd pay. Hibs supposedly put in a fourth and a fifth bid. Dave, are we going a bit too all in for McCowan, or do you think that we really need to make this happen now?
I think we've always had a high number, and we're just negotiating our way towards that. And I've seen a lot of shite about, oh, we should have done this 2 weeks ago and whatever, right? They're not they're not going to accept that bid earlier on in the transfer window. They never were going to. They wanted at least to get our game out of the way, and they've got no reason to do it quickly unless we went in and bid £1 million, and we're not going to do that, right? So, trust the process, guys.
Yeah. And Craig, one worry I had is as soon as the kind of bids go public of how much you're bidding for people, other teams can kind of hold you for ransom. Is that a worry that if we don't get McCowan, we're just going to get absolutely hamstrung with whoever else we bid for?
Yeah, I think that was probably going to be the case anyway with Hibs because obviously it was quite public about us having a bit of money to spend. So I think clubs would have been looking to get as much money out of us as possible. And I think it's a lot of teams as well would know that our board's a bit of a pushover. So, well, it seems so far. So they'd be able to get a pretty good deal out of Hibs.
Hey, and Liam, coming to you, if we end this stream and McCowan is not at Easter Road ready to sign contracts or is already a Hibs player, are we all going to be pretty devastated?
I think so because I mean I won't speak for the rest of you, but I've been fairly confident through most of the window that this was going to happen at some stage. Obviously, the later it gets in the window, it maybe becomes less likely, just given that time's running out. But I'll be honest, I did kind of think we would get this one over the line. To be honest, we've got you can criticise the current incumbents for maybe signing the wrong players, but usually when we go after a player, to our knowledge, we usually get our man now, which was maybe not the case before. So I think I speak for most in the fan base, but I say obviously it'll be really disappointing if it doesn't happen tonight. And then right now at 8:05, it doesn't look like it's happening.
Aye, well, we will live in hope. We are Hibs fans. We know that hope is what kills us, but we can't help ourselves anyway. Just to say thanks everybody so far that has joined us in the YouTube comment section. We've got Kieran Flynn who said yo to you too. Mark Telfer, sorry for the delayed kickoff. And goal granted, the next big one that supposedly is happening that I think a lot of people have heard of late, is Nectar Triantis has been linked with a return to the club. Craig, obviously, he played a bit at centre back and then a bit in defensive midfield last year. Is Triantis a player that you'd be happy to see back up the road?
Yeah, I'd be okay with it. I'm not like massively either side of being delighted or raging about that one. I did like him in the six, to be fair. I mind in one of the episodes I got a wee bit overexcited and said I thought he was unbelievable, but I would take him, and I think he was good in that role. But I think there's maybe other people that are not so happy about it as well.
Coming too, I don't think Dave seemed too impressed when he heard that that was one of the rumours of coming back.
Uh, our sporting director's doing a fabulous job, eh? he's managing to pick out somebody like Triantis. That's taken a lot of work to get that together. Listen, he was all right at centre mid. He's a centre back that can play a bit of football. He pushed into a six and he was okay. I don't see it as a position that we're crying out for unless it's a proper ball playing number six, which he's not. Right? We've bought Kwon in there. If we're going to sit with him and Kwon as two sitting midfielders, then it's going to be a long, long season, and it's going to be just let's punt the ball up to Miller for the rest of the season, and that's just going to be fucking awful, to be honest. So, I wanted to see more. It kind of makes me wonder what they're doing with Amos. I think they're done with him. What they're doing with NMW. It's an odd signing for me. It's not the one I'd be punting money on and wages as well, because I know he's on loan and all the rest of it, but it'll be a decent wage, it'll be another 4 or 5 grand or whatever to take him in. And we could have got Josh Nisbet for fucking nothing and 2, 3 grand a week. So,
Taking him 7 minutes to mention Josh Nisbet, Harry. 7 minutes.
Trust the process.
Aye. Aye.
Fair play to Dave for holding it in so long. You got Josh Nisbet in there eventually. We knew it would happen. But Liam, not to bore the people with the same question once again. It is a bit frustrating though. Last day of the window, and we're looking at players that we've had before. It seems to be a regular thing with Hibs that we'll sign players that we've had previously, and I was hoping that would kind of die. But it doesn't seem to be the case.
I mean, Triantis is not the same profile of player as McCowan, so we're not moving on to Triantis because we've not got McCowan, but we seem to be signing Triantis presumably because Sunderland have offered us a deal to take him on relatively low percentage of wages, in the same way that Del Ferry and Jair have probably gone today, and the clubs that are taking them are probably paying a fraction of their wages, I would guess. So I guess in the respect that financially it might make sense, but when you look at the construct of the squad as it is at the moment, as Dave says, and a lot of centre midfielders there, it doesn't make sense to me, to be honest. But maybe it will make sense come 11 o'clock tonight. Maybe we'll see lots of players move out in that area of the pitch, and it will all start to come together. This is just a bit of a jigsaw puzzle at the moment, because literally there's 2 hours, 2 hours and 50 minutes to go, and it feels like there's a lot to happen. A lot to happen.
I suppose he also brings that he brings the centre back cover as well, so there's a little thing. I mean, there is some chat about
Didn't want
Rocky.
to see that though. You
I
didn't
know,
want to see that.
if there's chat of Rocky going, and maybe we haven't been able to get the centre back we were trying to get, right? A left-footed one, perhaps. And they've just thought, listen, there's a guy that can come in, he can cover us for centre back as and when required. He can play a job at number 6 as and when required, and that's maybe what they're just saying. He just covers a couple of positions, but it's not, as I say, it's not one I would get excited about.
Maybe Big Nectar's been working on his left foot over the summer. Maybe that's what he's doing.
That'd be nice.
There's another name, Harry, that's been thrown out for defensive midfield, and I've no idea how legitimate this is or not, but it's been in at least one group chat that I'm in, which is a guy called Bonka Innocent.
Oh, I heard
who
that
plays
earlier.
for FC Lorient. Obviously part of the Black Knight group, has been there for a couple of years, has played a good number of games in Sweden for Malmo and Lillestrøm in the Norwegian top flight. I have no idea what he, what kind of player he'd be, but he's a Nigerian international, and based on nothing other than a quick look at his stats, looks to be a holding midfield type player.
Aye, it's a bit of a weird one because obviously when we got Kwon in, he was supposedly going to be that fix for us, and then on transfer deadline day we're now getting linked with 2 separate defensive midfielders, when I think it's fair to say, based off the comment section and based off what we said at the start of the episode, it's kind of that flair player that'll actually drive the team forward that we're looking for. There's also the boy whose name escapes me as well, the right back. I think he's Ecuadorian.
Espinosa.
Yeah, that seems incredible. Like, why? Like, I know some people have got their opinions on Lewis Miller, but of all the holes in the team that we need to fill, I wouldn't fill one that's already filled in. That's kind of my take on that one. But yeah, but strange. Just to say a couple extra comments. Kieran Flynn has said a couple of times, big up Ellie Youan. Obviously, we are all aware of the situation that has happened with Youan. Unacceptable in the modern day for any person to receive that sort of abuse. As we've said several times, Ellie Youan, wonderful football player who's got far too much slack since coming to the club, should literally go down as a legend for Tynecastle. 2 goals in 2 minutes alone. But yeah, if you guys want to give thoughts on it, my thoughts are, I think deserves anybody in that situation deserves a lot better, and we just hope that he's getting the right support from the club to manage that situation, because obviously not nice at all. Open the floor to you guys if you want to add in any thoughts there.
No brainer. I know the club got a bit of stick saying it was lip service and all the rest of it. I don't know what else I can do. You know, they quickly got the guy sorted out. I think Police Scotland have charged them. So yeah, we get on with it. I think everyone supports the thoughts behind it. It's interesting with Ellie as well, because obviously there was a huge chat about him going, and then it went quiet again. Obviously had a bit of an injury. He's definitely fit. We saw him on the training pitch, absolutely skinning Obita for fun. So, which I know this season has been a huge shout, to be honest. But if he goes, then there's a huge amount of money there, right? So you just wonder if the fact that they're continuing to bid a little bit more from McCowan, that they know that there's money coming in, that they know they've got someone lined up for Ellie, and it's 2 million quid or whatever, and then you would love them just to go out and just get McCowan, get Armstrong, get Liam Cooper, and then we can all get happy.
Craig, if you want to give your thoughts on the Youan situation, more than welcome to. But Liam Cooper, if he came in, I'm a bit choking just thinking about it. I'm that excited. Oh my God, imagine.
That would be brilliant. I'd love it. I don't know how, has it actually been rumoured, or is this just
me?
Dave plucking that one out the sky?
It's one of those ones I heard it in a group chat, and this time when I heard it in a group chat, it was actually Dave. So yes, it is rumoured, and we're claiming it.
He's not went yet. There was talking
He's
going
out
to
of contract as well, eh?
Contract, and they said he was signing for Derby. That's not happened yet. That was held up. We was talking about going to Hull. That's not happened. So you never know.
Doesn't need to happen tonight as well if he's out of contract. So
exactly.
One we can sit on it. So I think he would in principle be a pretty good signing, to be honest.
He's left-footed, eh?
Aye. Fitness record's a bit of an issue.
Oof, Harry.
I've looked it up, by the way. If anybody in the YouTube comment section is interested, / you guys, I believe it's now over 5,200,000 minutes since we last signed a left-footed centre back. Just for a bit of context there, and in that time, I think we've had 4 different people that have been categorised as in charge of recruitment. So the curse of no left-footed centre backs at Hibernian Football Club continues.
How many managers have we had during that time? You can away work that out and come back to me by the end of the episode.
If I've got time to study in the background, Liam, I will do that and work out who we've got in there. Oh, Sibo Slice has just joined the chat. What a gentleman. Speaking of which, a few other legends we've got in there. Sean M said up the slope. John McGlynn said evening in that, and David Livesley, is it Livesley or Livesley for that name? That type of name. I'll go for Livesley. He said, think we have got to get McCowan in for any hope this season. He carries energy we lack in midfield. We need to get someone in. So the next topic I was going to do, we'll do a kind of look back at the transfer window to keep us ticking over until more things hit the rumour mill. But for you guys, what's the most gaping hole in the next 2 hours, 3 hours? What would you like us to fill in that you'll feel appeased by the time we jump off this call? Liam, come to you first.
Luke McCowan.
No, but I'm talking about like positionally. Obviously,
that is the position. Like if you want to call him an 8 or whatever you call him, right? An 8 that runs, an 8 that demands the ball off your centre backs, that'll run with it at feet, right? That creates attacks and also runs back in defence. We're sadly lacking in that right now.
The holes in our team are much like a wall that's been punched by a very frustrated young man, and you've only got a really small amount of poly filler with which to fill all the holes with, and you're about to run out. So I don't actually think we've got enough to fill all the holes. Not got enough time left, essentially. But centre midfield is the big worry for me. I think most of the other acquisitions or signings we'd be making would be either for competition for places or for backup. I think it's quite unlikely now we're at a stage of the window. I would quite like to sign a goalkeeper between now and 11 o'clock tonight as well. Potentially a Bournemouth goalkeeper between now and 11 o'clock tonight, but I'm getting sceptical that's going to happen.
Well, if I've got any opportunity to call someone out for a stupid comment that they've made in the podcast previously, I will. And Youan, who's just appeared in the comment section saying Dave Graham HSC and Craig on our prediction podcast for the season told me that the midfield that we had going into the first league game of the season was good enough to compete for third. Craig, you're not bothered about getting Luke McCowan or a midfielder in, are you? You're content with the options that we've got.
That's plenty for you, Harry. That is plenty for you. I knew I was never going to love this one down. That's an absolute shocker.
But in honesty, Craig, obviously that's the main one that we want. And Liam kind of touched on there. He'd love a goalkeeper in for cover two slash to take over the starting position. But for yourself, is there anything that we've not covered yet that you'd be looking into?
Just probably an attacking option if Youan does go. I think that would you would need something to supplement that front line. I feel like with Miko's injury record, you would need something up there.
I know, 100%. And yeah, wait, oh, who's commented?
Nico87 just said, "What's more expensive, Luke McCowan or Dave's appearance fee for tonight?" We can
Oh.
confirm that Dave didn't ask for a fee, he just asked for us to supply him with enough martinis that he would make it through the 2 hours with us, basically.
Hey,
Waiting for the donut.
goodness. Oh, all right. Well, gents, just in the meantime, whilst we're waiting for some things to pick up on the transfer, we'll go through all our signings so far. I like the letter system of the kind of F to A plus. So we're just kind of give people the pass or fail so far. Obviously, some of them have got a lot smaller sample size. Some of them we've seen through a full pre-season, and some of them very recently have kind of thrown themselves under the bus after a very bad performance. So let's start with Liam, who seems to be on your hit list. Josef Bursic. Is it Bursic or Bursic? I think Ick
I think
is
it's
how we're going for
Bursic.
that. Bursic. All right, Liam, talk to me. What's the main reasons that you've got doubts with him?
Mate, I mean, the sample size is so small that you can't really go after him too much. He's just had a bit of a difficult start, I think is what I'd say. And he hasn't made a save yet that I go, that's a good save. And maybe it's, getting the relationships and getting bedded in with the two centre halves in front of him, but he doesn't really appear to be inspiring confidence in the two players in front of him, is what I would say. But it's very early days. He may well still come good, but I have reservations at this point in time.
Hey. Dave, it was a bit of a shame for him because he was getting booed for his distribution, which seems to be a recurring theme with any goalkeeper at Easter Road. After a while, they'll get booed for some reason when it comes to distribution. Do you think fans are a bit hasty on him, or have you also got doubts?
I think, as Liam says, it's too early to have doubts. I think he's had a couple of bloopers, right? I think he's comfortable in air. Say that any of the kind of higher ones that are coming in, he's getting out and he's grabbing them. His distribution hasn't been great, but to be fair, we're not playing out from the back at the moment, so it's a pretty different game. He's launching it. I mean, he launches it from hand. It's generally all right. And a lot of the time he is doing that ball out to Miller, and it does get to Miller. It's just we don't get much after it. He had a one that went wild and all the rest of it. But again, he's a goalkeeper, so as Colin from the other podcast would say, they're not exactly renowned for their football skills. That's where they're goalies. But I think he made a, what game was it? The last game he started against Dundee. He had a decent save late on at the inside post, which, I mean, you'll say that goalies should always get that, but like the couple that have gone through his legs, to be honest, when he could have went out and been bigger and just thrown himself on the ball or thrown himself at the feet of the attacker. They're disappointing. I want him to be a little bit braver in that kind of one-on-one situation, but he has been hung out by defensive mistakes as well. I think once they get their feet under the table a bit more and a bit more communication, and you want to hear him just roaring at O'Hora and tell him he's on the wrong side and all that kind of stuff, right? That's just basic stuff that will come with time. So I don't think he's a bad acquisition yet, and he's obviously, listen, he's a loan player. He's there for a season until we get Murray back for next season, I would imagine. I think that's the view. We'll see what happens. But I'll be surprised if we get another keeper. And I love the shout about Will Dennis or whoever from Bournemouth. It'd be nice if we got something from Bournemouth. And I imagine that at 10:59 we'll suddenly announce 3 players that'll just like be the sprinkling of stardust that David Gray was talking about. So we'll wait and see what happens there. But yeah, I'm from a letter score that you like, yeah, he's a B because it's early. It's very early.
Oh, that's quite a nice score. I reckon Liam's probably hitting a slightly further down the alphabet than
Oh,
that.
he's got an F or something, but he's quite negative,
Fuck off. I think if you're going to just use the games that he's played so far as sample, I don't think you could give him anything more than an E. He's not done anything to be in the sort of. But I mean, what to tell? Give me his career highlights so far. You can only the whole rating system. To be fair, of a player that's played that few games is probably unfair. but the number of games he's played, I think he'd struggle to give me anything more than an E.
But then would you agree
What's
that
he
all
done
our
that's good?
signings in you couldn't give more than an E?
Nah, because some of them have done some good
Apart from
things
maybe
and showed
Bowie,
some
but then
promise.
he's how much of a
Wait,
game's I wanted to get that one in there
I'd
so
give
that to annoy
O'Hora
Dave,
better
don't worry.
than an E.
Aye. All right, well, Craig, just speaking about, do you know what? Can you remember Will Dennis? I believe he was on loan at Kilmarnock last season.
I remember who he is. Yeah, I don't remember watching him but
Was that the type of character? If we brought him in before the end of the window, would that make you happy?
uh, I'm not particularly bothered about the goalie at the moment, to be honest. Like the guy said, it's really sort of small sample size, and I think that we just need to stick it out with that sort of three at the back. If when I say three, I mean the two centre halves and the goalie. I think there's faults on both sides, and they all need to get used to each other. I think you can see that not only uncertainty in the centre halves and the goalie, but also uncertainty from the goalie side with the centre halves. They don't quite know what each other's doing. I think that just needs a bit of time to work itself out.
And you know, I love a segue. We've got a YouTube comment from Stephen21010, and he said, "Need a replacement for O'Hora. He looks very uncomfortable for the most part." That is a bold shout. Of all the players on our new wee list that we've got, I'd probably say he's apart from maybe Bowie. He'd probably be bottom of my list of the ones to replace. I think he didn't cover himself at all in glory at the weekend, Dave, especially for the second goal.
playing on the left side.
Aye, yeah,
And
exactly.
again,
He's out of position.
at some point, somebody will realise this that right-footed players playing on the left struggle, right? And have to be really good to be able to do it properly, right? He's been all right apart for that blooper, well, two bloopers maybe, right? But he's been all right, and his distribution's all right as well. So he's the only ball playing centre half I've got. The big lad is just a launch it guy, which is fine, right? But I would love to see him on the right hand side. I think he'd be a cracking centre back for us on the right hand side.
Aye. And then Craig Conor McVeigh asked, "Do you think we need another striker,
Uh,
or is it more the wide options that you're looking for?"
I'm really unsure. Again, it all kind of depends what comes in and out. Between now, it is really all up in the air. I think was Davy Gray not maybe quoted as saying something along the lines of like basically we're not going to get another striker in because they won't be playing ahead of Bowie or Miko. So if if that's the case, then really all you're going to be getting is a shirt filler, and a lot of these guys kind of there's not much point in signing these guys.
Aye.
Got plenty of them already.
I think that's where you'll get the Bournemouth player, just a development player that's happy to sit on the bench and learn a bit and get some minutes here and there. I think we only have two strikers at the moment.
Aye.
And that-
Harry McCurdy, if you're
I was
including
just
him.
Sorry, I'm not. He'll be away tonight, I'd imagine. But
You think so?
Aye.
Well, we'll see.
I hear
He's
his golf YouTube's picking up
Aye.
anyway, so I think he's happy. So,
joining Archerfield as the golf pro, I think that'll do us perfect.
Liam, I'll give you a chance to come back on your boy O'Hora. That's a bit of a Raj one saying
Yeah,
he's replaced already.
it was a poor mistake against Dundee. But he's been fine apart for that. I think, to be honest, I think he's good on the ball. I would like us to get a left footer in so we can actually get the most out of him playing from the back if we're going to do that. So he's on his correct side and he's able to sort of open his body up to the whole pitch. But aye, that's obviously dependent on the club getting some business done between now and 11 o'clock tonight. Harry, can I just say I'm absolutely rolling at some of these YouTube comments. The quality of the interactions are very, very good on YouTube.
Good.
Yeah, I'm going to get to them. Don't worry. And just to say, I'm going to mix it up because I think I've made a bit of a stupid one. Believe it or not, me being stupid. But deciding to give people a rating after about 3 to 7 games is a bit stupid. So what about we give our letters for what we think we'll rate them at the end of the season? So that's more prediction based, and that makes it a bit more viable, and we can get some options. So for Bursic, I would give him. I reckon by the end of the season we'll say C plus. I think he'll be a very meh keeper. I don't think he's going to be outstanding at Marciano level, but I don't think he's going to be as like he's not going to be categorized as the Makalambis and Malkowskis of the world. So for me, I reckon he'll be a happy C minus. Craig, what are you saying for Bursic?
I think he'll be a B, but I'm overly positive. I did give Josh Campbell the equivalent of an A plus, so which is blown up in my face very quickly. But as I've said to you, it's early days. No, Busick, I like him. I don't mind him. I'll give him a B.
Okay. And Dave, yourself?
I said a B, and I
A B.
stand by that. I think it'd be a B. And just for Stuarty Boy 1987, who's asked, how does Dave take his martini? Always shaken, and this is a Vesper martini, right? Which is 3 parts gin, 1 part vodka, and 1 part vermouth. Right? Now you don't get this in other podcast, eh?
You
Wow.
don't. We're classy on this podcast. If we make signings, by the way, just to show I'm not like put water in it, I've got random vodka shots that I'm going to take. So Hibs get signing, get Harry drunk. I hopefully won't get drunk off free vodka shots, but you never know.
I'm just
Liam,
disappointed you've not got a yellow tie on, Harry, to be honest. I
I
thought
know.
that was the very least you're going to do this.
I actually had a chuck over, chuck over. We've got props. The top. Eh. Um, the only thing I've like that's vibrant yellow I've got is my banner top, so I was going to try and tie that around my neck like a cravat, but then I thought that might look stupid. So I'll kind of wrap it around myself for now, and then if anybody comes in, then they'll think that I'm transfer deadline Harry, and it's all very good and fun. But yeah, Craig, moving on. Next comment we got in was from Hibs Jaden, and they said not happy with Ekpateta so far. And they want a centre back and a centre mid. So Ekpateta, he's the next player that we're going to kind of break down. Probably his best game at the weekend.
I thought he was quite steady. And on a few occasions, I said in the last pod on Monday, I thought he just kind of done what he's capable of doing. I head it as far as he can, kick it as far as he can, and just don't try and overplay. But I think to be fair, defensively, like off the ball, he has been okay. Most of them he's read most situations okay. It's just on the ball. Obviously, he's made a couple of glaring mistakes. So I understand the concern around him because he does look very, very unsure when he gets the ball at his feet. But I think again, it's the sort of thing where it is very early. They're all getting used to each other. So I'm not signing off on him completely at the moment.
Hey. And Dave, just for a bit of variety, I've seen him mentioned a couple of times in the YouTube comments, but you claimed one time on the pod that he was one of the greatest players to grace the field in a Hibernian Football Club kit. Emiliano Marcondes, Dave, is he the solution to all our problems?
Love him. I would absolutely love to have him in the football team, but we still need somebody to do the work rate. He is absolutely like a yeah. He's a player that I just love watching. And that Hearts game, he was just unreal. He was like unplayable. But you need players around him that'll do the work, and we don't have that at the moment. So if you put McCowan in there, and Rudy didn't have to play every game at 10, then having Marcondes and Rudy getting to learn from Marcondes would be unreal. Unreal. But I can't see it happening.
A
Even though
Dave wet dream.
he goes to the Flutarium just across the road from me. If you watch his fantastic YouTube channel, he says he likes to like get his sense together and he goes into a Flutarium at the end of my street. I wouldn't go near that Flutarium. I've seen the people that go in it. I tell you, it must be honking.
Can I just say we've been going for about 29 minutes now, and Dave's hit about three phrases that I've never heard of in my life before, and I think we're kicking with gas. And what you got? Mike Murphy said Dave's going to have to slam a lot of martinis when the Bournemouth contingent come in at 10:59. So you better have about 6 glasses ready that you can just neck as we get Owen Bevan and all his mates joining the club. Um, but yeah, Liam Marcondes, is that a player that you'd like to see us make happen, or bit of a luxury player for what we need in the midfield at the moment, isn't he?
Nah, it would be one of those signings that like on ability it would make sense, but I think in terms of his profile it would be another mismatch, and we've misprofiled quite a lot of signings I think in the last sort of few transfer windows. So I think we just need to steer clear of that and just sign players that are going to suit whatever system David Gray wants to run with this season. I don't see Marcondes being able to do the work off the ball that he'll be needed to do. Sorry. Because you should be good in theory, like you should be a good player. I don't know what you think, Harry, but like, it is a player that should work, but it doesn't.
Aye, yeah, not like I'd kind of put it like I don't know if it's a harsh comparison, but Scott Allen, like I think when he had McGinn and McGeoch next to him, like you wouldn't bat an eyelid at Scott Allen, who didn't ever really do much off the ball in comparison to the other two. And Marcondes, if he played alongside John McGinn and Dylan McGeoch, he would go down in the history books as one of our greatest ever players just because of the amount that he'd be able to do. But we're going to finally get to some of these comments. John McGlynn said, "Word on the street is McCowan rubs a teaspoon of marmalade on his gooch to give him a +2 on his stats." Billy Sterling said A for Hoylett. He's not put a foot wrong. Um, that was a bit of a random signing, wasn't it? I don't want to diss a player before he's even put on the jersey, but I didn't really get why we'd signed him in the first place, to be honest. It just didn't seem like, yeah, it was a bit of a strange one. Liam, I
You
know
you want you want a surefire F in your rating. He is your surefire F.
you don't.
You just sign a guy in a 1 year contract. He's not fit to play for at least a month. Like, come on. I'm like I've just said, I don't want to write players off that when he played, but I think that is an absolutely wild signing, to be honest.
David, it's looking a bit grim early days, isn't it?
No idea. Seems a nice guy. Met him in Albion. Uh,
A really nice wee guy.
nice wee guy with his family. Uh, apparently he's back on the grass training, so we'll see. I think
He's
a
he's
month
back on the grass. That's all we need. A stoner on the team.
the fans could do with that as well. Maybe they'll be a little less violent. But I who knows? Like he was handy at Aberdeen. Right? He's not an out and out winger either. So I just think I kind of don't. It's another one I just kind of don't get. But I'm sure there's something on that magical board in the recruitment department that says where he fits in. So we'll see.
I did enjoy Jamie Brown has commented saying, "Wish I was a goalie." That's all the context we've got from Jamie. So Jamie, thank you. I wish you were a goalie too, mate. That sounds great. Kerr Whitelaw said, "Crazy to think in the last 2 weeks we've signed two players and they both play the same position and both on loan." Yeah, but anyway, let's not talk about underwhelming. According to Kerr, let's talk about a couple of people that have actually officially left the club in the last few hours. Someone that we had, well, two players actually that we had on our list. The first of which, Jair Tavares, in my opinion, quite a shock move. Went across to Motherwell on loan for the season. I didn't really see that one coming. Craig, were you bamboozled? It kind of sprung out of nowhere. Apparently, I think it was Motherwell and Ayr were apparently like in
Kilmarnock.
for him. Was it
Kilmarnock.
Kilmarnock? Kilmarnock, sorry, other Ayrshire team.
Not for Armstrong.
Ah, right. But yeah, Craig, a bit of a strange one.
Bizarre, eh? It is bizarre. It came out of nowhere. It was rumored half an hour ago, and then it was done straight away by the rumor mill. But it's a strange one. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on. To be fair, obviously playing in the same league. If he does well, then you never know. I'm not saying he's coming back to Hibs and playing, but at the very least, if he does well, you get a bit of money for him. But yeah, it is a strange one. I'm surprised Motherwell wanted him, but
Yeah,
there we go.
yeah.
And if you're speaking about guys, he seems like a nice guy. I don't have any
nice wee guy.
questions against him. Seems all right.
Okay.
What?
Liam's face didn't think he was a nice guy, I think, but there you go.
No, it's not. It's fucking like I'm
mean,
not here to make assessments on people's character. I'm here to make assess whether or not they're good enough to play for Hibernian Football Club. Like I just assume that everyone's a nice guy until they give me reason to think otherwise. Just an absolutely baffling signing. And the great thing about it is he's still got a year left when that loan ends at the end of the season.
So you don't know.
He cooks at Motherwell.
Exactly. If he performs at Motherwell and the count of Motherwell turns him into some superstar player, then we might get £1 million for him or something. You never know.
Hey, 7 figures. That's what you predicted.
Motherwell,
League
fucking
boo for 7 figures at the end of the season. But yeah, other one that left the club, Alan Del Ferrier. I'm not going to try and come up with the name of the Luxembourg. Luxembourg is what's the language?
Sporting something.
Someone for Luxembourg, very small country. He went there. He's on loan. Dave, that's fine, and it is what it is.
Another cracking 4-year contract. Well done.
Speaking of which, do you reckon Megwa? Are you happy with the 4 years? It was a discussion in our group chat. Do you think 4 years is too much for Megwa, or do you think that's a bit spot on?
So we don't know the details, right? It could be like he's only went up a few £100, right? Because they've been on buttons before, right? And if they think there's a project there and there's a chance to make money, then they're probably, and that's how they equate it, right? They'll sit, this is how much he's going to be a week, this is how much it costs over the 4 years. Can we get that back? Do we think he's going to come into the team? Then, there is something in that player. Like, I did see him at Airdrie was very good, but Airdrie were a decent footballing team last season, and they did play some tidy stuff. I think he's a tidy footballer. He's too small to be a centre-back, even though he played there for the youth team. But and I'm not even sure if he's a wing back. I read something somewhere else that David Gray's been training him more as a DM. So there you go. We've got another DM when these two guys have got on loan disappear, maybe he comes back and he plays in there, I don't know. But as long as it's not on big money, then I've not got an issue with it. At least it's a homegrown and it's not like what we've done with Delph as a project that's just not going to work.
Aye. Yeah, no, Youan, we always like to slag Youan for not getting things spot on, but I remember Del Ferrier had quite a bad performance once, and then Youan was like he's not going to play more than 3 more Hibs games, and then we were like, you're being a bit much. And I think since then he's played 2, so fair play to you, and you got one right, my friend.
Nah, he's wrong. He was wrong. He said 5 more games and he played about 10 games between then and the end of the season. On the subject of getting things wrong with Del Ferrier, the Daily Record tweeted a picture of Jordan Obita calling him Alan Del
Oh my
Ferrier
God.
earlier on today, which was some top level journalism there from the Daily Record.
Ingrained racism.
That's not good. That. All right, well, Danny Manson said Hibs maybe going back in with 1 million. I think that's more hope than actually happening. So thank you for that. Stuarty boy says 6 points for Gryffindor, Harry. Don't know what I got that one for, but I am looking quite specky with these glasses on, so that's understandable. Oh, Vito Colleron, you're gonna like this one. He said thoughts on bend over. Hey, hey, get it? Because like bend over. No, all right. Tough crowd, my friend. But yeah, we'll go back to our trusty list just now because I don't think there's any other rumours flying at us. We like twins. Twins are fun, and Nicky Cadden is one of them. Name space. Craig, Nicky Cadden, you were quite impressed at the weekend. Is that a player that you think can come good for Hibs?
I think he'll be an excellent squad player. I don't think he's going to be a guy that's going to be starting week in, week out, but I like the look of him. I think it seems quite a reliable, trustworthy football. Looks like he'll try his hardest every time he goes out, and he's got decent enough quality in the left foot. So I'm happy with that sign as a good squad player.
Aye, nice. And Callum Suther has asked a question. Dave, I'll give you this one. Would you rather sign McCowan or keep Youan?
Sign McCowan. And simply because I think it's just gone too far with Ellie now. I think the relationship is broken down, not just with the fans, but I don't think he actually likes being at Hibs anymore. As I say, I like him as a player. Like, he is frustrating, but he has moments of magic that get you off your seat. We've got very little players like that. But we need to maybe change a little bit, and we need to have, proper bit of muscle in the spine and people that'll put the work rate in and work their bollocks off to get back and put tackles in. And I think McCowan is that player. I honestly think McCowan would completely change our season. Ellie Youan would probably make sure we stayed in the top 6.
Hey. And Mikey's joined us, so that's great. Mikey's here. Hi, Mikey. Leon, come to you. And Nicky Cadden?
I like Nicky Cadden. I think he'll probably slightly different from Craig. I think he'll play more than he won't. I think he will. When we go to a 3-5-2, I think David Gray will eventually get sick of playing a right foot on the left side of 3-5-2, and I think he'll put Obita there, and I think he'll play Nicky Cadden at left wing back. And then I think in a 4-3-3, if you're going to get players into the box, I think he's a great player to have in your team because he will put balls into the box. And based on a very small sample size of Saturday, some of the quality of those balls will be quite good. And therefore, we will probably score some goals from it. So I like Nicky Cadden, and I think he'll be a really solid player for us based off very limited footage. But I think he seems to me in terms of the profile of the player that David Gray would like. He seems to be a player that David Gray would like. He's a wee bit Brexit, like does what it says in the tin.
Even just having a natural left foot on that side is nice for a change, right? And rather than trying to push Boyle out there or Ellie or whoever, right? And I'm probably with Craig, to be honest. I think he'll be a good squad player. Good squad players isn't a bad thing, by the way, right? And I've said that for the last few seasons. We need to be in a position where like players are running themselves into the ground for 75 minutes, and you bring a player on, and it doesn't make us worse. Right, it gives us that little bit extra in the last, 15, 20 minutes. So, and I think Nicky Cadden will play plenty of games, but I think he'll also give us that little bit extra if he has to come on for the last 20 minutes. So yeah, I have no issue with the signing. It makes sense. And twins are good, Harry. It'll be history, yeah.
Hey, that's it. No, because the thing, like, I genuinely do think that Cadden are both quite similar players, and I think if you've got one on each wing, you'll probably have a lot of energy for the most part of the game. So if you've watched my face the last couple of minutes, I've been trying not to laugh because the one that really got me was Stewarty Boy said, "I've heard Joe Newell is a lemon curd man," and that just got me. I thought that was good. And who's coming up next? Alternative Hibs has asked, has Dave begun mixing his own cocktails, or have you got someone in the back that's doing that for you, Dave?
You know, I made a proper flask, so which is now empty, so it's only got two in it. So I'm on to the second one, so don't worry. There's a bottle of Primitivo there for when the signings start coming, so it's all good.
Superb.
All good. And just for Colin, who's asking what am I going to do with this pen? Next time I see him, he'll find out what I'm going to do with the pen.
Oh no.
Are you going to sell it to him?
Aye.
He's going to give him
Um,
his autograph, I think.
Oh gosh, not again. Mike Hibbs has said, can't fault the club for trying for McCowan, offering club record fees, so no short of ambition. What do you boys think? I just think that if you'd started aggressive at the start of the summer, that I think most, because the thing I've said before, obviously, I don't work in a recruitment department of a football club, but obviously, it's not like the window opens and then you turn on and you're like, all right, let's start talking to teams. Like, you've got the whole year to start like making your move on people, and then you kind of heighten it when it comes to the summer. We've clearly wanted McCowan since I think the rumor started like late June, start of July. We're at the end of August and we're on our fifth bid. Like, why couldn't we have put this bid in before the League Cup group stage? Like, for me, there's no logic to it. Like, I know we had a new recruitment team that were coming in and stuff and they wanted to make their own mark, but like, it's not like a new target. It's not like we found a boy in like the second division of Holland, i.e., Dylan Venti, that we're really hot on. It's a player that's played in Scottish football, been like dominant for ages. So yeah, I get what you're saying in terms of you can't blame them because they're putting in like club record fees. Yeah, that's good. But put it in a month earlier, then we're not having this issue on transfer deadline day. Um,
Uh, I also not sure about the whole it's a new recruitment team kind of excuse because I don't know who's changed
yeah,
apart from Malky. Malky, I think, is the only new person, so I think we would still have had targets identified from before. It's obviously Malky's job to go and work on those, and maybe partly David Marshall's job as well to work on them. Albeit it's still a bit unclear to me what David Marshall's actually doing now that he's not picking the ball out of the net for us this season.
assistant to the sporting director.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, Dwight Marshall.
Carries his
Yeah, and then N'Golo Grant is very adamant because he said a couple of times, N'Golo, don't worry, I'm listening to you, my friend. He has said that just pay the 1 mil and we'll get European football, and then we won't have to be worried about losing money on him. I think that's pretty fair, isn't it?
Yep.
Just pay the 1 mil so we can get up that Dens Park Choir and Dundee Dairy or whatever they're called on Twitter. Like seriously, I've been
I'm
sick of them for the last week being smug as anything. That's going to get clipped, but
yeah,
come
no,
on,
I
Hibs,
keep
just do it for that.
I keep bringing Bex up on the podcast, my wacky sister, and it's normally the Bexometer of her telling me how terrible Hibs players are, and then them turning out to be terrible. But she has literally got about 40 bookmarked tweets she's going to hit retweet on as soon as Luke McCowan is holding a scarf above his head in a Hibs jersey. So just for her to have that like tinge of arrogance and happiness, I really want Luke McCowan. Like, it'll be good for Hibs, but just so she's got that dose of happiness when she's just hitting retweet on all these guys that are like, Luke McCowan would never play for Hibs. Fuck off. One thing, like I don't like the whole elitism in football. Like, see when like Celtic are bidding for our players, and it's like we'll take them from you, blah blah blah. But it just winds me up when Dundee are like, Hibs is a sideways move. I'm not trying to be funny. You haven't won the Scottish Cup in what, like, even longer than we went with it winning it.
Come
Like
on, Harry.
Dundee, tiny club, very
Okay.
small club. We are massive compared to them. So it wouldn't be sideways. It'd be a massive forward step. I just wanted to get that in. Hopefully that'll get clipped as well, Liam, because that'll be fun. We'll be all over Dundee's Twitter. Um, Haley Young just said Dens Park Choir trying to force a rivalry because they know their derby's shite. I like the sentiment, but the Dundee derby's actually pretty good, to be fair. That was a bit tin pot because they gave him a guard de honor, so that was a bit weird. But the games are normally quite good.
Dens Park Choir's a Twitter account that said that Lee Ashcroft should have been called up to the Scotland squad for Ryan Porteous. Like, just sit down now.
It's a
Aye.
booking.
It's what he still doesn't back down from it as well. He's still adamant that Ashcroft's better than Porteous.
I'd
Weird.
rather have Richard Ashcroft playing centre back for Scotland.
in his bare feet.
Oh, All right, well let's get into the one that we're all excited about. I think we spent 500k on him. I've just described him as a forward because I still don't know if he's going to play out wide as Liam said, or if he's going to be more for the middle, like it seems to be the case so far. But Kieran Bowie, Dave, we've not heard your thoughts on our new man yet. I think I got his name right that time for you. What are you saying?
Uh, Firstly, well done. It's Bowie. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Despite people, he might even say himself it's Bowie because his mum told him that, but his mum's wrong. Right. It's Bowie. Uh, I really like him. He's clearly not 100% fit yet, right? He's a wee bit off that. He's missed a pre-season, like which is our way of signing players. But he's aggressive, can hold the ball up, doesn't let a ball go as well. You see the that goal he scored at the weekend. You're not expecting somebody to score that. He's like kind of off balance, getting the ball off them off balance, and still getting a shot off and getting the goal in, right? So yeah, I really like him. I think he could be a super player for us, to be honest. And he has the ability to play anywhere across the front three. So, and you've seen that where he's played before. So it's not a huge amount of money. What we've got him on 3-4 year deal. You would think
Four, I think.
you'd think from a kind of from a recruitment point of view, it's somebody you would expect to make money on. So 2 seasons, sell him on for a couple of million, and then move on to the next thing, which is what we have to do as a club. So yeah, I do. I like Lookham, but I just wish that Barry with an IE would say his name properly when he scores.
Oh, so has he entered the Youan and O'Hara cult of being named incorrectly?
Oh, it's just Barry, but I mean, people will argue with that with me about that all the time, so it's fine. It's okay. You can call him what you want. It's fine. But when he scores, can we just get a good boy song? You know what I mean? It's like this is like that.
Which
That
one would you choose, Dave?
eh? For him,
Which Bowie song would you choose?
Moon Age Daydream. There you
Lost
go.
me there.
You can listen to that off air, right? But a couple of riffs of that would be great whenever he scores a goal. I just want us to do that for every player. Why can we not, in this day and age, why can we not have a song for every player when they score? I've been shouting that for years, and it's this, it's like, fuck off, man. Come on, get something decent on. So let's improve on that, and that'll make Hibs a much better team with a much better goal fanfares.
Right. Um, just random. I think I've said this a few times on the pod, but it still baffles me when I think about it to this day. Scottish Cup final when David Gray scored the winning goal. I still refuse to believe that. I think they played the Proclaimers after he scored, and like, see when you watch it back and you can hear that in the background. I still find that mental because I can vividly remember that moment, and I cannot remember any music playing in that stadium at all, and it still blows my mind the fact that it might have been 500 miles that came on during that. But aye, I just thought I'd throw that in there because it always blows the mind. Stuarty Boy has said, Harry, I'm off my jollies tomorrow and recently joined the Spect clan. What's your thoughts on clip-on sunnies? Yes or no? So me and Craig went over to Luzerne last year, and Gav, who used to run Hibs Talk, me and him actually coincidentally used to sit next to each other in the West Stand back in our heyday. But it was the first time I'd actually seen it in person. He had clip on, so he had like glasses, and then he could just stick on the sunglasses on top of it. And I thought absolute shagger. So Stuarty Boy, if you're thinking of getting clip on sunglasses, do it because it was cool as shit. I would do it, but I'm not cool enough to pull it off. So yeah, I'd recommend. Have any of you guys ever seen that before?
I've seen
Take
it.
And he sounds so impressed. So see, Liam's impressed. I'm impressed. Get it done. Get it down, yeah. And speaking of names that I literally don't know what he goes by anymore because I've heard that he's actually changed the spelling and all sorts. Big Mick, our Ukrainian striker. There's something going on in the background with Dave. Craig, excited to see the big man back? Or is it dog? Or is it cat?
It's a dog. I
No.
don't know. Fucking cat, I'm not a weirdo.
Well, it was moving quite frantically, mate, to be fair. But Craig, talk to me. Big Mick.
I'm happy. Just as my opinion on Big Mick remains the same, I'm just concerned about injuries as probably everybody else is. That his injury record obviously isn't great. We touched on earlier, do we need another striker? Because maybe with him probably going to get injured at some stage, let's be honest, they will. He will be out for probably 5 or 6 games at some stage during the season. It's just when that's going to happen, I think, more than if it's going to happen. But in terms of him, if we take out the injuries, he looks a good player. He looks physical. He's got a good strike on him. He was very unfortunate in his first spell with a lot of offside goals. So I'm excited to see him going again. I'd like to see him and I'll just say Kieran up top. I think that'll be a physical, aggressive partnership with the two of them. I think pair of them will be a handful for defenders, especially at the one time. So that'd be interesting to see if that sort of can work.
And then just off the back of the, Dave Thompson said, "Evening lads." Joe Leslie said, "Rebel Rebel," and then he confirmed that that would be a Bowie song. That's what he would play. Alternative Hib said, "I would kill to hear 'I'm an alligator' play at Easter Road after Bowie scores."
So that's Moon Age Daydream for you.
Okay. So you are on the same wavelength then. George Harding said, "I think goal should islands in the stream." Not the best constructed sentence that George has ever written, but I like the sentiment and I agree with you, my friend. Next name, who's actually in the thumbnail because we kind of panicked when Celtic got involved with McCowan and changed it to Dan Crowley. Crowley. Boy that plays for Notts County, attacking midfielder. I don't know too much about him, but apparently the youngsters that do said that he'd rip it up, similar to what they said about Harry McCurdy. Being honest, as a backup option to McCowan, I would be underwhelmed at first, and hopefully he would prove me massively wrong. Either of yous, or any of yous, sorry, know anything about the Dan second name I butchered?
Just what I saw when he was mentioned on Hibs on Air last week that we were looking at him. But I don't know if we even are, to be honest. But I mean, he looks handy and he's doing some good stuff down there. But it is at that level, and we've seen other superstars at that level. So yeah, no, we just have to get better. It's got to be better players, right? So
Yeah, I agree. He's had one good season in League Two. I don't think he's been brilliant really anywhere else he's been at. He might just be one of those sort of late bloomers, and it's all going to come together for him now. But I don't think he's really been a standout at many other clubs he's been at, to be honest. Based on the limited bits I've picked up of him, he had a very good season for Notts County last season. 15 goals and 46 from midfield's impressive. But I think if you look at his sort of career throughout, he's a lot of clubs for a guy who only really started playing senior football in 2015, like a lot of clubs. So I don't know. I mean, it's late in the window, and if we don't get McCowan, we have to get someone. He could be a very good second option, but I've got to be honest, it doesn't fill me on the face of it with a lot of hope.
Aye. And Craig has just fed in that apparently the Edinburgh Evening News has reported that a striker and a centre half are the current priority. So that's a bit concerning. Yeah, considering everything that we've discussed so far.
So we're going to
Um,
replace Luke McCowan with a centre half and a striker, right? Okay.
I'm just going to start throwing some names, some names that have been thrown in there. I like this one because it's a bit of fun. Jem Fuat, Fuat. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry, Jem. Said Stuart Armstrong to Hibs. That'd be something I'd be all about. I think he'd probably be well above our wage packet, but I'd be all about it.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
significantly better than Luke McCowan, and you'd think that if Celtic wanted a player out of the two of them, that they'd probably go for Stuart Armstrong. Hope your massive piss was good, Dave. Dave Thompson said, Venti got a great song, Boys has got to be better. George Harding, after I slagged off his message, said, dyslexia is reeking tonight, so I'm sorry for being offensive. Remy Cool said, hi guys, whilst there's no much happening on the transfer front, could I ask you lads to give my youngest son, Cameron Cool, a shout out? He's cycling all the way to the Hibs ladies game from Easter Road. Hey, go on! What a guy, Cameron Cool.
Well,
Good on you, my
if
friend.
there's a
He's doing
link to
away games as
sponsor him,
well.
pop it in the chat, Remy. If there's a link to sponsor him, I'm sure some people will want to sponsor him.
Yeah, 100%. And if you send it to us on Twitter as well, we will give that a quote tweet and try and encourage people. That sounds like a really nice cause. Awesome.
Sorry, Harry. See that chat about even News saying we're looking at centre backs and striker. I think that was on top of McCowan. It wasn't like we're not.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
that's,
okay.
I think that's
Okay.
correct.
I was like, yeah.
So, but
Harry.
are we not needing a left back at all?
Yes.
Right?
I don't think we need a left back. As I said, I just think Jordan Abita needs to grow up. I think that he's more incompetent to
Jordan
be.
Abita gets injured tomorrow, right? Who's going
Nicky
to
Cadden. Nicky Cadden. He
Mm.
played wing back, so he'd be fine.
He plays as a left wing back. That's a completely different.
When
kettle.
we signed Chris Cadden, he'd never played right back before.
We
And we
have.
put him at right back when he came to Hibs, and he got Player of the Year playing right back.
He had played right back for a
I'm
while, in
pretty
fairness.
sure he had.
And in the MLS, that doesn't even count.
I think the plan is if he gets injured, Rocky Bashiri at left back.
I think Rocky will go tonight, to be honest. But yeah, that's what you'll end up with something like that.
Dave, the number of transfers you're predicting, and there's 2 hours and 4 minutes left to the window. Like,
All
there's
happening.
basically going to be a transfer
Some
every
martinis.
5 minutes to
All
make that happen.
I need to get through this and get into that bottle of Primitivo, so we need transfers quickly.
And speaking of bottles, I've got this big one. Who was it? George Harding said that water bottle's outstanding. Where'd you come across? I saw it in TK Maxx. It was a tenner for this. 2.2 liters in this bad boy. And it makes me feel all cool because I can walk around like I'm a big strong gentleman when I carry it about the place. And
Walks about like a strong gentleman. Sounds like Jim White.
With these clip-on shades.
that's it. That's it.
Yeah, that's
Right, Archie Meldrum said, "Find it absurd. There's no McCowan alternative. Was McCowan just a cheeky luxury option?" And Golo Granty said, "We're preparing a fifth bid. Would it not be would it be a sixth bid at this point? How many bids have we done, Dave? You seem to be in the know on this."
Right, all I said on that, right, was the whole paper talk thing about, oh, we made a third bid, a fourth bid. It's a load of shite, right? Ben and whoever is involved in it are sitting bloody texting the guy constantly saying, oh, well, we'd make it this percentage, that thing. It goes on constantly. It's not like they create like a PowerPoint deck and send it in, and then they send Lee Johnson in for 7 hours to try and sell him, right? It's just like, it's a constant ongoing discussion. Right? It's not just bid after bid. It's just people need to just get their heads around that and just like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I still don't think Celtic are going to sign him. I'm really confident. Already
Confident. Did you say you're
confident.
confident?
I'm not confident. I would be when it's once he gets his fitness up. But I'll be confident that by 10 o'clock McCowan will be a Hibs player. There you go.
Old.
Dundee choir.
I like it how you've given them. They've done it with an hour to spare as well. They've not even waited to the deadline. They've done it with an hour to spare. I like that, Dave. That's good. Vladovsky said, if I haven't pronounced that right, by the way, that was pretty impressive. Said, what other CMs should we go for if McCowan bid falls through? Obviously mentioned Dan Crowley. Is there any other player in the middle of the park that you think we would target that we've not mentioned yet?
I do think Armstrong's the one, and it's not time bound either, so you can wait and do that. And obviously, it's going to take a massive financial offer for us to get him in. But as it stands, he doesn't have any offers elsewhere, so maybe he fancies. I think he's got a house in Edinburgh, Stuart Armstrong. I think I'm right in saying so. I mean, I do think that would absolutely make sense for the player and for the club, but it's financially be a huge outlay just in terms of wages to get a player of that caliber in. I'm really at a loss because there's not many players. I think the reason why we're in a position where we're willing to pay so much money for McCowan is because there's not a huge number of players in our league with that sort of profile, or that are around the leagues even that have got that level of quality combined with the energy that he's got in midfield. So struggling a wee bit with that one, Specky.
Dave, Craig, any central midfielders?
No.
You go first. No, okay, right. So we tried like a bear apparently on Campbell.
Alan
That
Campbell.
there wasn't a lack of effort to try and get him. That's coming from the Ben Kensel Bootlickers Appreciation Society. So so that there was definitely a major try to get him in, but he didn't want to come back to Scotland. Was the end game on that one. So that's where I think the Stuart Armstrong thing isn't he that wild. I think if McCowan doesn't happen or Celtic come in and do take him, then I wouldn't be massively surprised if that's the big announcement.
Would you not be happier with Armstrong though than McCowan? Because I'd be much happier with Armstrong than I
Happier?
would be McCowan.
No,
Aye.
no, no,
Or same volume of happy, slightly less happy.
no, no. McCowan gives us the next 3 seasons of totally changing the way we play in midfield. Armstrong is Armstrong's a good player, right? But for me, he doesn't give us the same kind of level of work rate that you would get from McCowan.
I don't know about that. I don't know about work rate. I think on the ball it's hard to say because he's been playing at a much higher level than McCowan for the last number of years in his career. So you probably focus less on what he does on the ball in a team like Southampton where they spend a lot of time suffering without possession, don't they? I think Stuart Armstrong. Remember the player he was up here. He wasn't as good as an athlete as he is just now, but he had absolutely bags of quality in this league when he played for Celtic and Dundee United. I genuinely think if he was to stay fit and get they play 30 games a season, I think he'd be as good as, if not even a better signing than McCowan.
Craig, well, you've got the deciding vote here.
Stuart Armstrong. I think it's proven top level quality. That's why I would take him.
Nice haircut.
Aye.
Fighting with Joe Newell for best haircut, or maybe Joe Newell wouldn't get a game then. Don't know. You never know.
Well, I think we all know that's not going to happen. But anyway, in answer to your question at left back, apparently Megawa played left back, played it there in the pre-season games. So there you go.
He played against Kelly Hearts at left back, by the way.
Stop it right now, right? And again, this is the bollocks you hear, right? Oh, we're training him to be a left back. Fuck off! He's right-footed, right? It's bad enough having a centre back playing left centre back that's right-footed. We're going to play a fucking left back that's right-footed. It's just utter nonsense. It goes totally against the physics of the way the boy plays football, right? You're always putting him on the back foot all the time. He'll always get into bother. It's just nonsense, utter nonsense. If we sign a left back that's right-footed, then I may no longer be a happy clapper.
Oh my God, that'd be a very dark day because you're a dying breed, my friend.
It's a shocker for Grant, by the way. I'll be having words about that next time I see him.
Aye, Grant, we love you, and you've riled up these two, so I love you even more, my friend. Stuarty Boy said he'd play sound and vision after each Bowie goal. Remy, I've sent that link for you, my friend. The LJ stories are brilliant. Yeah, we can have a dedicated like 2 or 3 minute recollection of Lee Johnson because he was the funniest Hibs manager of all time. George Harding said it should be all over Silla. I'd suggested that a couple of weeks back. Then he came to Easter Road and absolutely bossed it, so it doesn't look that bad. Being honest, I just not 100% what we need.
Just play with 360s. Just totally revolutionise Scottish football and play with 360s.
Surely Craig Levine's done that at some point. That's not really revolutionising. Surely, like if he played a 4-6-0 for Scotland, surely at Hearts he played 3 6s at once. It'd only make sense.
You think our days under Elman so far, St Johnstone have just re-signed Jason Holt.
Do a job for Hibs, eh? If Hearts had signed him early in the season, they were like, oh, that's the kind of player we should be going for. League experience, all that kind of stuff. And look at all those signings they made that are absolutely tearing up their team at the moment.
Well, George Harding also said Ben and Big Malky are just sitting bashing a half dig in East Mains. Dave Livesey said would take Stevie Mallon back in a heartbeat. Stevie Mallon, I think, if
injured.
Is he injured again?
We'd absolutely take him back because he's injured. And he's in rehab, probably for another 3 months. But we'll sign him anyway.
Can you just imagine that previous comment you read out was true, and just Ben and Ian are in East Mains just saying, "Go on, lad, Bell Dundee again, Bell Dundee again."
Oh no!
PM Bell Dundee again. Just tell him the fax machine's broken.
Oh Jesus. Oh, all right. Oh, that's a good question. This is for you, Dave, I think, because I think that can the other two's answer. Jem said, would you rather Miller from Motherwell or McCowan? Lennon Miller, that'd be.
Oh, he's obviously listened to me before then. Right. I think Lennon Miller's possibly the best young talent in Scottish football. I mean, there's not even possibly about it. I think he's absolutely mustard. He's slightly different from McCowan. Right, he's a proper orchestrator of a football team, but he also gets forward a bit as well. So, he's Lennon Miller's like a £3 million player now.
Yeah, the sellability future has to be Miller.
I think he's a top Prem player down south in the next 5 years. I think he's fucking outstanding, an outstanding player. I was sitting with Raymond at one of the games, and I think I was just saying, you just need to watch Lennon Miller. And I think he's still only like 17, 18 or something at that point, right? And everything about him, he just demands the ball constantly. He's got no fear in him. Similar a wee bit to Rudy, right? But he's a very different player, right? He just wants the ball all the time, and he knows what he's going to do before the ball comes to him. And that's the basics you teach kids when they're really young, right? You've got to know what your pass is going to be even before it comes to you. He's just different gravy. Yeah, I think we mentioned in one of the chats, Bournemouth should just sign him and loan him back to us, and all is good.
Bell Dundee again, lad.
Bell Dundee again.
Aye, goodness. What's the other one saying? Jane Alexander, she's got a bit of positivity. Celtic will pull out last minute and McCowan won't be going anywhere. Oh, fingers crossed he does come to us though. Okay, well, Celtic won't get him, so that'd make me feel a bit better. Um, Stuart said, I'm doing a sponsored beer fast until Hibs sign an attacking midfielder. Stuart, I don't think you should do that, mate, because you'll be sober for a very long time. Um, and then yeah, Mike says, is Armstrong truly realistic as a signing? As Dave says, if Dave says it's possible, I just like to believe him because Dave always thinks Dave's always good. However, Ewan Denham does say that you're deluded to think we could afford Armstrong too many cocktails. And you know what I say to that? Not enough cocktails. Hey! Um,
I can't
Paul
believe he's
Cle
actually drinking martinis. That is unreal.
Paul cleverly said, thought the influence of the Black Knights would really influence this window, yet it doesn't seem to have done at all. Are Hibs not listening? I know that was a thing that kind of got brought up a while back. Craig, does it make the whole Black Knights deal seem a bit defunct overall?
It's a bit of a concern. Obviously, a lot of experience and know-how on their side, and the proven track record on the Hibs side isn't very good. So it maybe would have been an idea to listen to a few things they have to say. But at the same time, I was happy that we got Gray as manager. So maybe we were don't listen to them on that one. But yeah, it's a strange situation. It seems this guy's putting his money, and then instantly there seems to be a wee bit of animosity, maybe a wee bit strong of a word, animosity, but there's a wee bit of bad feeling there. So yeah, strange.
Hey, Dave, Liam, your thoughts?
One is.
Nice, be awkward silence there, so that's wonderful.
Like Liam has been spoken for a while, so I was going to let him speak. So I think he's watching like 27 channels trying to see who have signed.
I was just actually watching Scott McTominay's sort of leaving video for Man United. See he's signed for Napoli. Great transfer for the boy.
Napoli. Wow.
Yeah, it's a good move for him.
All the
Very
Scottish
good
boys
move for him.
in
In Italy, aye. Yeah, yeah.
Italy.
Is there any other I've heard that deadline day in general has been a bit meh.
Aye,
So did you not hear that Sterling's going to Arsenal?
aye,
Oh,
aye.
Raheem, aye, yeah.
My big
Yeah.
mate I go to the games with, he's an Arsenal fan, Big Ian, and I don't think he'll be too happy with that. Like he's not a huge fan of Chelsea players, to be honest. But there you go.
Yeah, I think the big deal looks like it's going to be Ivan Toney going to some Saudi mob for 40 million, which is just an absolutely
Oh,
terrible,
who's that?
terrible move for a player like that. But there you go.
You can't gamble with
Um,
it. You
hmm?
can't gamble.
Come on, man, Dave. Come on. You're better than that. You're no, but
Oh no.
aye, League One Birmingham signing that boy for 10 million as well, which I shared with you the other day. There's just absolutely crazy as well. But hey, we're not here to talk about the EPL or the leagues below it. We're here to
What
talk
was
about
the
Luke
question?
McCowan.
Aye, sorry. What was the question before that? You were talking about our relationship with the
Yeah,
Polish.
it's essentially is it a bit strange that we don't seem to be listening to them. Like, why have we actually brought them on board as like advisors and part owners if we're not actually going to take their advice?
Aye, it does seem a
Funny.
bit symbolic, right? And it probably hasn't helped. I think they would have been a bit more forward with bringing players to us if we hadn't had that little fallout. I think they were clear as day that they didn't want the sporting director, they didn't want the manager. And it was always clear as day to me that they were only getting involved in Hibs because they want to buy the club, right? And they're waiting for the change in the policy that allows them to buy the club, right? There's no benefit in Foley chucking 6-7 million quid into Hibs and then just sitting saying, let's see how you go on, guys. I'll give you some more money for nothing. Right? He wants the club and he wants it to be a development or even, I mean, you can look at it another way, right? If he takes over the club properly, Hibs is his only chance of getting to the Champions League because he's not going to get there with Bournemouth. Right? That's going to make, like, he's going to need billions to get Bournemouth up to be like a top 4, top 5 team in England. In Scotland, the reality is it would only take 20, 30 million every year for the next 3 or 4 years, and you're up there. Right? So I think his plan has always been how quickly can we take over? And I think Ian Gordon's seen, oh, here's a guy that's going to plug some holes for me. 6 million quid, excellent. He's promised to give me a couple of million for transfers. I don't know if that will materialise, to be honest. But and then it's all just went a little bit wrong because he's not done what he was asked to do. So, we'll see what happens. But I think you'll see a change in the structure of the club over the next couple of years. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ben disappears in the next year or so as well.
Hey. Well, we will see. There was quite a funny interaction on the YouTube comments. George Harding said Marcodez, spelled Marcodez, still available. And then 3 messages later said, bring back Stefan Omiyonga and spell Omiyonga perfectly. So I've no idea how you've managed to get Marcondes that wrong and then get Omiyonga, which is a pretty difficult one to spell correct. So fair play to you, George. Jem pointed that out and I quite enjoyed it. But yeah, who's that one? Jamie McGrath playing well. Wonder, yeah, that's a bit of a weird one. I remember at the time, people were kind of saying, because he got off to a pretty rough start at Aberdeen, and he's kind of come into his own of late. Now that the team's kind of a bit stronger around him, and they've actually got a manager in, he seems to have been hitting the ground. Craig, does that seem like one that got away, or is it not one that you'd really hedge your bets on?
It's difficult to say, isn't it? Because we're such a shambles, really, at the moment that you don't know how he would get on in our team. I can't see him doing much better than what he would be doing at Aberdeen anyway. Seems like he's been a bit of an up and down player at times. So I wouldn't. Depends who we get in. And then you say, well, maybe we missed out on that one. But no, I'm not overly bothered. To be fair, not overly bothered. I don't think he's setting the place on fire or anything to make me really, really sort of pissed off that we missed it. But it seems a decent enough player.
Hey, indeed. Speaking of decent enough players, Bertie Harris said Lewis Mayo from Kelly would be an unreal signing, IMO. I wouldn't say unreal. I'd say all right signing. I think
2 years
yeah.
ago, right, when I told Ben Kensill to go and sign him, right, and he'd never heard of the guy. So there you go. That's a recruitment department for you. But yeah, I think he's a good player. I've always liked him, and I think you could turn him into a very good player.
RAF's got some breaking news. I've always wanted to do this. Some breaking news. Just
Oh,
Celtic are signed.
so a source close to the club understands that there is going to be some movement here in the next 5 minutes or so. We are going to see a new body at East Mains. So just hold on to your seats, ladies and gentlemen.
Triantis, isn't it? Fuck off.
It's got to be.
oh, if it's Triantis, I see if I take a shot because Triantis is signed for Hibernian, I'm gonna force myself to be sick and bring it back up again. Eh?
Liam Bryce has just retweeted the Triantis, so it's probably fucking Triantis. How exciting. At this
It
rate,
does look like,
a bottle of Primitivo. Right.
yeah, it does look like there's going to be something in the next few minutes. So hold on to your seats, folks.
Hey guys, if you've joined us and you're wanting the action live that happens, according to Liam, soon enough that will all pay off and it'll be the truth. So we're all excited for that one. Oh, great question coming in here from Jordan Hagen. Said, would you rather fight 10 Conrad Logan sized Mamadou Bojangs or 100 Mamadou Bojang sized Conrad Logans? That is a question. That's what we do this podcast for, Jordan. Yes. All right. So 10 Conrad Logan sized Mamadou Bojangs against 100 Mamadou Bojang sized Conrad Logans. I couldn't take on Conrad Logan in a fight. I love him too much. I'd be going to war against 100 Mamadou Bojangs, even if they were Conrad Logan sized. I'd just have to go to the fight with him. Dave, what about yourself? Who you or Liam? You looked ready for that.
That's the teaser out. The club have just put a teaser out.
Oh,
Yeah,
It's going to be Triantis, aye, definitely.
Yeah, it's Australian.
yeah, it's Australian and it's the Nectar card. There you
Oh,
go.
the Nectar card is back. All right, Nectar Triantis, welcome back to Hibernian Football Club. Oh, okay.
Great work from the transfer department. Well done. I love how you said you wouldn't want to fight Conrad Logan because you love him so much. He would smash fuck out you, Harry. What are you
Yeah,
talking-
no, that's definitely part of it. That's definitely part of it. But like, if it came to it and me and him had to fight, then I wouldn't be able to put up a good fight. Bojang, I've not got any issues with it. Like me and him didn't have any beef or anything. But if it came
Bojang's
to
still big though.
yeah, I know, but no, it's not Bojang sized. It's Conrad Logan sized, equivalent of Bojang. And there's
Yeah,
100 of them.
even
That's-
one
Ten.
Conrad Logan, you're not knocking him down. He's the man of the mountain. So no, it's just anyway. Let's be
Right.
fucking
Right,
daft.
well,
That's
let's
that's one for the old what was the long banger thing they used to do, and the people would send them daft questions if you were
The dog's head on the human body or the human body on the dog's head question. Mate,
where did the giraffe wear its tie?
the best, I think it was amazing the day that they interviewed Sean Maloney and asked him that question. It was
That was
unbelievable
great.
because Sean Maloney, I don't think it was a video, but
That was
just based on his voice, you could tell he was
Aye.
caught in the headlights. He did not know what to say. Wee Sean, eh? What a pity.
What could it have been? What could it have been?
Ah, dear.
Well, David Williams said, not to seem like sour grapes after the fact, but I feel McCowan is set up for failure, has a very good structure and good players around him to let him thrive at Dundee, whereas we don't have that. So actually, the only reason that McCowan looks any good is because Dundee are good. There's a plot twist you never saw coming.
That's
Eh,
that's not a bad shout.
yeah, no,
I know, like people hate that kind of shout, right? They're just a hard-working team. There's nothing classy
yeah.
about Dundee. They just work fucking hard, and every one of those three midfielders works really hard. And we've, and I hate saying that thing, the Hibs way and all the rest of it, right? But there's this idea that we have to play in a certain style or something, and I just think it's utter bollocks. I just want us to be hard to beat. And I'll take 1-0s. I'll take the Jack Ross world, right? It's fucking fantastic compared to where we are now, where we try to play a certain style of football and we don't have the players that can play it. So yeah, I'm all for I'm all for changing our style and bringing in players like Dundee have got in the centre of their park, and then see what happens. I think we've got so much talent up front. We just need to fix the middle of the park, and we would win the majority of games.
Yeah, because that's all we need to do is win the like the reason we finished third when we did is because we won the majority of the games against the teams at the bottom of the league. It's all you have to do.
Just beat the bottom six. Yeah, that's what you need to do.
Not even beat the bottom three, and you've got yourself most of the way there. To be honest, the reason that we fall behind so much is because we get beaten stupid games. Another quite funny comment came in. George Harding said, "Anyone know Ben Kenzel's exact location?" And Stuarty Boy said, "Sunbeds."
That's outrageous.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. All right, tough crowd tonight, guys. But yeah, all right. Talk to me, someone. Nectar Triantis, we kind of touched on. Is that? I think he's probably going to be brought in to cover centre back more than midfield, like just on the basis of the squad.
Consensus seems number 6 just on Twitter and stuff. It seems a lot of people are saying it's going to be as number 6, but I thought that was the whole point of Quan. Maybe he's seen more. Maybe as a out and out 8 or midfielder
Aye.
rather than a 6.
I think that's a great shout, to be honest. I think they maybe see that Quan plays a little bit further up and winning the ball in the middle of the park rather than protecting the defence, and you put Triantis in there, and then maybe, just maybe, pushing Newell a bit further up, you get a bit more out of him.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. And it might just work, and David Gray he'll show that I know fucking nothing about football, and he'll win 50 games in the trot.
If he is signed as a 6, I make that 9 centre midfielders at the club.
Aye. There's going to be more going out tonight, eh?
It's going to
Surely you'd
be
think so.
an hour and 41 minutes left. I know I keep pointing out how little time is left, but there's going to surely be some names at the deadline now who are just told that we just do the old thanks for your services at 10:59. You're no longer a Hibernian FC player.
Is that officially the development team done then, do you think? We can't have many players left who can play in it. Because we are chucking them out quickly, like.
Yeah.
I'd love to have a chat with Steve Keane about what his thinking was about that development team sometime.
Right. Well, a couple of other bits that came in interesting on YouTube. Bertie Harris said Man United have announced Ugarte. If anyone's interested, I know Liam has some interest there. Jake Nicholson said, can't wait to sit here until 11 p.m. just for Hibs to sign Paul McGowan on accident for 800k.
Good haircut.
Fact. And then Dylan Tilbrook said Nectar's just back to boot a ball at Newell again, which was definitely my highlight of the last season. That was, I don't care if we got pumped that game. That was just incredibly funny. Yeah, absolute icon. Was that in terms of your source? Was that all the action in the coming minutes, Liam? Do you reckon we're exhausted, or do you reckon we'll get another one shortly after?
I don't know, mate, but I was just looking at our Wikipedia to work out how many number of midfielders we've got, and I forgot that Max fucking Boric is still here.
Is he not at Swindon? He was playing for Swindon, was he not?
Nah, I think he went there on a trial game
Oh,
and
it was just a trial.
they saw him play.
Oh,
I,
that's wild.
I actually at the start of the day wanted about 6 guys to go, and now I've just discovered there are 2 guys that I want to leave, and 2 have left today, so I'm back up to the full complement of 6 that I want to leave before 11 o'clock tonight. So it's good times.
Jesus
Who's
Christ.
gonna who? Right, here's a good question for you, right? Out of the guys that are basically completely frozen out, do you think who do you think is the most likely to have a Jair style redemption arc?
Who's
As in
frozen?
have 2 good games and then not play well for the club again.
Who's currently frozen out then, Liam?
No, and Kenna. I would say Luke Amos because he's not getting a look in.
John
Har
Kenne's a well,
Harry McCurdy, um, Jake Doyle Hayes.
there's your one.
I think that's probably it, to be fair, because the other 2 have gone on loan.
There's your one.
Or Max Blorich.
Jake Doyle Hayes coming back into the 8.
Aye.
Coming back into the 8 and being an absolute fucking superstar and a player we've been calling out for. And he means we don't have to get Luke McCowan because Barrels comes back and does it for us.
Until he gets sneezed on, and then he'll be out for 6 months again.
Well, as long as we didn't have a little midget manager that tries to break his fucking knee and cap, then we'll be okay. Aye, he's been back on the grass, as they keep saying, right, for a while. So he's I think he should be round about the squad by now. So yeah, I would like to see. I like Jake Doyle Hayes. I know it's a very small number of fans that still have that opinion, but I liked him when he played. I think the mix was wrong. So it'd be interesting to see him in this team now. But of the ones you mentioned, then I could only imagine Jake Doyle Hayes is the one that's going to come in. Amos is an odd one, eh? Because Amos's showreel is really good, right? And I know every player's is like that. But he had loads of energy. He's running up and down the park, he's putting in tackle, he's playing balls through the rest of it, and then he's just not shown anything really when he's played for Hibs.
He's had some bad injuries, like quite
Aye.
long-term bad injuries. And I've not seen enough of him to really opine. Uh, sounds so harsh because he's only on the pitch for about 20 minutes. But when he came on against St Mirren away, I was just like, it was just such an uninspiring sub, and he did nothing really the time he was on the pitch, but just play really safe passes when we were chasing the game. So
He wasn't even that good.
nah, I know. So I'm, I think he's probably not going to be a David Gray type player either, to be honest. Whereas Doyle Hayes does kind of make sense. I know there's a few people in the comments who are not happy at that shout, but Doyle Hayes does actually, if you get the Jake Doyle Hayes that played in that end with Derby, we beat them 1-0 at home under Kevin Nisbet, which I know is a long way to hark back to a performance. And it's one performance, but if you get that version of him, he is a good player, but even that feels unlikely.
David
But
Williamson, sorry, just called it that in what you call it as well. Um,
oh, good
Other people
shout.
saying I've heard some people murmurs today about both Joe Newell and Dylan Levitt supposedly leaving. Joe Newell would definitely surprise me. I think he seems very comfortable at the club at the moment, and I think the club seems comfortable with him. I know that of late a few fans have raised concerns. Um, Dave, I know that you're kind of in the for me, I've kind of said my frustrations about Joe Newell for a while. I think that he, on his day, is a very good player. I still think that to this day, in my lifetime, him at home to what do you call it, Luzerne in the game last year and at Easter Road was unbelievable. The derby we won when I think it was Kevin Nisbet, I think it was that same one you just referenced. Unbelievable that day. And even
Yeah,
came on the pod and said if he was that good all the time, he wouldn't be at Hibs, which I was like, fair enough. But it is frustrating we don't see that more often.
he's right. He's right. And it is he is a frustrating player. I spent last year sticking up for him with a guy that's sitting next to us who used to like to say he's not got it, doesn't work hard enough, all that kind of stuff. And it's the off the ball stuff that frustrates me a lot because he does, and it might just be like the way he looks when with his run and his gait, right? But he looks like he's not trying as hard as the player running past him sometimes, right? And that I think that frustrates Hibs fans more than anything. If you see somebody running past one of your players and you think he's no busting a gut to get there, then that really frustrates the hell out of you. And you saw it, I think, for me against Dundee in a couple of times. And you expect it against Celtic because they're a different world, right? But yeah, it feels like over the last wee while, right? We've done a thing to break up the Jake Doyle Hayes, Newell, Campbell midfield three, and the only thing that's left in there is Newell. And is it time maybe to just try something different from Joe Newell? And I like him. I think as I say, I think there's games where he's excellent, and there's games where he just doesn't exist. Right? And I hate to use the word hide, but there's times where he's no looking for the ball. And you can see it. And you can see him like when there's a throw in or something and he should be demanding the ball. And you didn't see him demanding the ball. And I want to see a player in there that wants the ball all the time. So it would be but with the signings that are coming in, unless a kind of 10 or a box to box 8 comes in, then there's nothing to replace Neil right now. There's nothing because I don't think Mariah Welsh is that kind of player. I think Mariah Welsh has a ton of energy, but it's all kind of miscontrolled and late fouls and all the rest of it. And I like him. I think he's got potential, but he needs to learn to settle down a bit and decide when to put tackles in and when not to. So yeah, a midfield without Newell could be interesting, and I wish we would just try it a bit more rather than just in daft League Cup games.
And a couple other YouTube comments I think are relevant to bring up. Jane Alexander said, "My lad's statement last night before he went to bed. Hibs will give you 3 emotions: excitement, nerves, and disappointment." Your son gets it, Jane. That is pretty spot on. And then Gary Hudson asked, "Was Dave Graham an ex-player?" Dave, could you enlighten us there?
Was a fuck. I played school level. I was a year younger than everyone in my year. So in today's day and age, they would probably do that thing where they put you down a year below and all the rest of it. It didn't in my year, so everyone was much stronger than me and all the rest of it. So I used to get battered all over the place. Got chucked into right back or left back with my non-existent left foot. And then I played a little bit when I was older, but no, utterly shit. But I coached for 14, 15 years.
Nice.
Got some good players. You might have heard of him. He plays number 10 for us just now. But
if you've been in a group chat with Dave, you've definitely heard that he is the sole reason why Rudy Molotnikov has any scrape of a player at all. So thank you, Dave, for nurturing that talent that we've got in the first team now. It's appreciated.
and Macaulay Tate at Hearts. And I tell you what, I would sign him if I was Hibs. Because he is the closest thing you're going to get to Dylan McGeoch from a young boy. He would turn into a Dylan McGeoch type player. I think it would be immense if we brought him in and turned him into that kind of player. And he's wasted at Hearts. Absolutely wasted at Hearts.
Right, well, we'll get on that baldy gremlin in there, dug it, and we'll tell him to give us Macaulay Tate, or Dave will be having words and that'll scare him into it. So Macaulay Tate, you'll start in the reserves and we'll see how you do. But Dave, Mike Murphy has said Triantis, Kwon, Marcondes midfield be an interesting experiment. It does scare me on the front of it, to be honest, but it could be fun.
I don't think we've seen enough of Kwon. I saw. So I went back and watched a few of the St Mirren games and all the rest of it, right? And he isn't just a sitting six. So the idea that he was going to come in and just sit in front of the defence, he's not that type of player. But I still don't know what kind of system we're playing now. I don't see us as a team that are going to play from the back. So, and we're playing a back four, or are we playing a back four? We went to a 3 the other day there, so it's like if you're playing a back 3, you don't have a 6 in front. So it's just like it's again. This is why the Triantis thing doesn't make much sense. What are we? How are we going to play football? We seem to be loading ourselves up with kind of deep lying midfielders, and there's nobody to actually run with the ball forward. So it's an interesting one.
Hey. Craig, your thoughts?
Nectar is
Sorry, I
back.
was just looking at Triantis.
Nectar
Just
is
being
back.
announced.
Oh, have we got him announced officially?
Yes, loan for the whole season.
Oh, our loan signing, that's magic. That's exactly what we need.
Delightedly.
Welcome back, Nectar Triantis. It's great to have you back.
Nectar back, Nectar.
Hey.
Nectarios Triantis. Welcome back to Birmingham FC.
Nice.
We
All right,
need
well,
some excitement, boys. Here, we need something exciting to happen in the next hour and a half.
aye. All right, well, that's a start. Not the
Is it
start.
me opening the bag of peppermint creams that I've got? Do you think that would be exciting for the listeners?
Right. Oh, I said I don't think that's going to be that strong. Like.
Oh,
Oh, you've got to drink it all. You can't just
I'll just test it. All
that
right.
was poor.
down the whole thing. Class. Right, there we go. spot on.
Oh,
You
that's
go to the
bogging
toilet then,
that.
and Harry, you want me to
Look at
take
this
over for a
state.
bit?
I'm yellow. I'm blue, sorry. Oh, that was stronger than I thought. Jesus, that's horrid. All right, let's all right, Hibs, let's not sign any other. That was minging. Oh, where is Greg? Greg is one of our senior advisors now. He gives us a lot of intel week to week. He sets up the structure of the podcast and he tells us to go out there and complete the fundamentals. Everything that Hibs currently aren't doing on the field, we try and execute on the podcast for Greg. So yeah, no, he's doing good. Oh, security boy Harry's not getting mad with it, but that has burnt my throat. Jesus. Um, David Williamson, emphasis on Nectar being a defensive midfielder in this statement. So that's good to hear. That's encouraging. All right, so at the moment, obviously, we've just brought him in. Oh, Jamie Borthwick's tweet. Someone get on that. Craig Stat, get on that.
I'm on it.
In the meantime, Liam,
Sorry, Harry, because this is great. I just could
go for it.
and kudos to Charlie Banks, who's always very good at getting things into the group chat early, right? The comment from Malky Mackay. Nectar is someone we identified early on in the transfer window. And we've been working hard to get this deal done. After spending 6 months here last season, Nectar has a full understanding of the club and knows the standard of the league, which will help him hit the ground running. We felt it important to add another good professional to the evolving group in the dressing room, and we are delighted to welcome him back. So well done for identifying him early in the window. If only other people hadn't been and watched Hibs play football, we would never have seen that. So great.
Wait, Dave, to be fair, did he specify what window?
I'm now officially worried.
Jamie Borthwick is saying Hibs are not done. We are also, we've just had a message to say expect some movement in between now and 10 o'clock. So I think there'll be another signing in the next half hour. So open your bottle of red.
I think John
Um,
Greek on Twitter, he said that apparently he's saying that McCowan isn't a deed yet.
Fucking
It's no
hell.
DJ. That's good.
Not deed apparently, according to this guy.
Like with your Uncle Dave.
That would be fucking wild if that was to go off tonight.
Harry drink his vodka.
You can still see a bit blue still. It was this be shining.
It's just a bit.
If we somehow get up to 4 players, the only other alcohol I've got in the flat is a big bottle of gin, so I'm going to have to half neck that if we sign any more than 3 players. But yeah, no, that's good. We've got to be happy with that. Oof,
It's not dead. That's all you need to know. It's not dead. It's not done.
By the way, see when that goal, in my opinion, it shouldn't have probably have actually been disallowed at the weekend. I thought that was very harsh. I don't think that's a good usage of VAR. But anyway, if that had counted, I was very scared. I'd already started planning my trips around Morton and Arbroath when they get promoted again. It was brutal. But Jane Alexander says, bet we sign in from. What?
Sorry, just on so they put the picture up at Nectar, and he's obviously at the club with the current season training kit on and all the rest of it. So he's been there all day, right? So that's already been. There's other people apparently were at HTC today. Is all I will say, and I have no names, right? But the players weren't in the HTC today, and there was apparently all the staff were there and all the rest of it. So there was definitely stuff going on. So they are just going to just play this out. And as you say, Ben and I are just sitting there watching this podcast right now going, like, give it another half hour, guys, give it another half hour. And we're going to get three or four more coming out and it's all good.
I think there's going to be we're going to be very busy for the next hour and 25 minutes. And I also think we're probably going to be having to Google a couple of players and figure out what we make of them very, very quickly. So I think there's going to be a couple of. I don't think that it's out of the question that this guy Bonky Innocent signs as well.
So,
Yeah,
is he not another holding midfielder?
Aye, we just got to play with three of them, as Dave says.
The 360s.
Aye.
Oh
Aye.
no.
I mean, the good thing about him is he'll never get a yellow card.
Hey, innocent. But how many loan signings? Is there like a cap on how many loan signings you can have?
From one club.
Like at one club in one season? Because is that
as well? It's like 3, but then if they're under the age of 23, you're allowed 4 or 5 or something. It's a bit odd. Aye.
Because how many have we got already?
All right, in total, no, I think you can have as many as you want loan signings. It's whether you take them for all from the same club, I think.
Billy Sterling said, had to go watch Race Across the World with a wife. Banging show, by the way. I've not started watching the celeb season of late, but good
No,
choice, Billy. You've missed out on this.
no.
We've signed Nectar Triantis. Very good fun. Do you not like that show?
Nah, nah, I'm not a virgin.
Guy coming on here and saying,
I think for me I think what what I would say is I don't really know where I'm going with what I'm about to say. But I don't know. I've gone on for you, mate. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Stuart Boy just said somebody's laced Dave's martini with meh.
I don't know what the comment was that came out with that one. That's just my normal rosy disposition.
Hey, goodness. Oh God, someone else is all right. If you can get a name that'll actually get us to Google something, we'll give you brownie points. Mike Murphy stole the Aberdeen fans' tweet of "Your Das sells Avon spotted at East Mains." So that'd be fun. Billy, you got absolutely curb stomped there by Liam just for watching a TV show. So be careful. Liam's
Sorry,
not holding
Billy.
it.
Love
I
you,
agree with
Billy.
you.
Sorry about that. It's just not for me, that people that watch like reality TV, I just don't get it. Like, what was that one that was on
No.
BBC recently? Traitors or whatever it was called. Reality nonsense. People that subscribe to that, man, you're honestly, you're watching it, you think this is bad. Watching us, your brain cells are rotting away watching that. Absolutely, you're getting thicker by the second.
But in fairness, you've got a very like narrow selection of things that you'll actually accept to watch in your life because you've not seen anything like Star Wars, Lord of the
Nah,
Rings, Harry Potter, or
absolute
that. Nah.
nonsense. The lot of it.
Aye.
Absolute nonsense.
See, so yeah, pick your pop culture very carefully when
For
you're
we
around.
guys, that stuff.
Stuart Boy said myth teenies all around. That sounds like a good laugh. Let's get that involved.
I'll give
Um,
that a go, Mike. Aye.
aye. All right, but anyway, let's go on the hostile guys. Who do we want out the club? We've got two people out so far. Who else are we chasing out here? Get them gone, Sharon.
I can
Dave.
think of a couple of non-playing staff that would be go.
Let's not start that, boys. Let's get
Steady.
Oh, let's play nice then. All right, fair enough. All right,
nice. I'll be shut Albion otherwise.
all right. Well, whilst we're waiting, what players? All right, Siebel's in agreement that traitors is nonsense. Um,
Players we want.
I,
I
I
was
was I was going to go back to the players we signed, but who are you wanting, Dave? Who do you want to come in the doors?
Alexander Hack.
You're going to have to give us some definition there, Dave, because everybody's drawn a blank.
Left-sided centre back. He was in the Saudi League last season. Stats were great. He had about 150 games in the Bundesliga before he went there. I think he's about 28, 29, 30 or something like that. He's just a good, solid left-sided centre back. Played in the Germany 21s. I don't know if he was ever captain the first team, but he's watched a bit of him. He's good. He was released from the Saudi team. They had him a 2-year contract. They want a striker in. I think they're only allowed 2 foreigners or 3 foreigners. They've released him because they want a striker in. And he is out there and available. And
I just googled the boy Alexander Hack, and apparently he's a bass guitarist for an industrial German music group called Einstürzende Neubauten. So get him in.
what he does,
Sign him.
what he does in his spare time isn't the issue, Liam. Right?
He's 58, Dave. I'm not sure that's the sort of market we should be swimming in.
I think he's still got potential. With David Gray's coaching, it would be great. But no, Alexander Hack, I have watched him. He's decent, and I hope Hibs have had a look at these players and thought, "There's a left-sided centre back. He could maybe do a job." He would have been on decent money in Saudi, but he got a year payoff, similar to our own Martin Boyle. So he'll have a bit of money in the bank. He might fancy a year in the lovely HGC 100 mile an hour winds. So I don't know. You never know. I desperately want us to sign a left centre back. If we sign a centre back tonight and it's another right footer, just like, come on,
What's the point?
just didn't. Aye, give it to let one of the laddies be a standing. They can just hoof the ball away.
Right. All right, well, I've got some fun questions, and Conan McVeigh said, "Who's your favourite deadline day signings?"
Scott Allen.
Solid. That was the triple move, wasn't it?
That was crazy. Unbelievable. We were at the game when it was happening, eh? I can't remember who we were playing, but I'm sure there was a game on as it was happening, or maybe we played a game the next day or something. And then it was just madness with the goalie. His name's escaping me, turning up to Celtic Park and his Hibs kit. That was just someone else.
Scott Bain doing that. Mental. Who left Hibs?
Simon Murray, he went to Dundee.
So he did. So he did. Mental.
We signed
Um,
Dylan McGeoch on deadline day as well, didn't we?
Aye.
The loan signing. When we signed him on loan, it was good
Nice.
for us that season. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but did we sign CJ Egan Riley on deadline day as well? I really liked CJ.
I feel he
can't
played in
remember.
January.
Oh, did
Might
he?
be wrong
Okay.
on that, but I feel like he did.
I'll tell you my least favourite, Matthew Hoppy.
He got a
Oh,
lot of
Ross
stick,
County
eh?
away.
He got a lot of stick.
It wasn't very good, Dave. That'll be the
I
reason
know,
why.
but just like I've seen a lot worse, to be honest. And yeah, he had
Yeah,
a
just
pedigree, just didn't work out for him.
All right. Well, in terms of the YouTube comments, Kenny Whitson said deadline day Scott Allen. Fair enough. Colin said, do you wish that you'd done this from 9 till 11 instead? Liam said yes. Bertie Harris said Hibs have turned their attention from playing additions to Oasis tickets. Triantis Hibs, ignore that. Watch that afterwards. Harry McCurdy on his way to East Mains. That sounds terrible. Bertie Harris said Freddie Ladapo from Ipswich. Anybody any idea?
So
He's
he's just
just
been
been
released.
released.
Oh, has
Aye,
he?
I'm
That's a
guessing
bit of fun.
Craig is doing the same Twitter search I'm doing, right?
Indeed,
he's
And
yeah.
a
it
big lad.
just keep pinging up. He's a big strong number 9. So
Big lad.
I don't know what age he is or anything. So I don't know if he's
31, decent goal scoring record.
so similar to like who was the guy who used to do the Hulk thing?
Akin
Grant
Fenwa.
Holt.
No, sorry, yeah, Grant Holt. Grant Holt. Yeah, that kind of player. A bit experienced. But fucking hell. Right, so yeah, a kind of Grant Holt type player to sit on the bench would be great, to be honest. To bring us a little bit of cover, and again, another guy can come on for 10, 15 minutes. Something like that would be
Do
nice.
you know what is absolutely mental about football is that Wycombe Wanderers, I'm pretty sure, had Adebayo, Akin Fenwa, and Uche Ikpeazu starting their games up front together for them. Can you imagine? That is the definition of knowing you were in a game as a centre half, just
Just-
getting run into by the two.
Aye.
Sibo's asked Harry,
Yep.
do you think we need another out and out striker?
My absolutely yes. I think it's for me after midfield that was my number one priority. And no offense to Big Nectar, I think that he will be useful. I was probably on the podcast one of the more favourable, maybe not as much as Craig saying that he's an exceptional, wonderful player. But I think he's decent. He'll do a job for us. But I don't think that he's quite the midfielder that we needed. So I'm hoping that we're still going to fill in that void. But for me, I think it just runs a risk. We don't see Bowie as a out and out striker, so it does worry me with just Kukarevich or Big Mick as we're calling him now, given his injury history. And I think that we need a bit of, like, I always think if you've got something a bit different, it really helps. Like there's no point bringing a like for like sub on. Like we need to get a quick player that can run off the back of players because that's not Big Mick's game. So for me, I think we need a different type of striker, and I think you can kind of plug those gaps quite easily with players from England, and I guess we're just going to have to do that. So yeah, for me, that's hopefully going to happen in the next hour and 15 minutes. Otherwise, it's we're on a bit thin going into the season for me, into up until Christmas anyway.
But don't even
Yeah.
have in the youth team that are ready to come up. To be honest, there's some shouts on long bangers for the laddie. What's his name, Landers. He's not ready to play in the first team. I watched him at Edinburgh City, the first game of the season in the friendly. He's a unit of a laddie, but he doesn't have the movement or the awareness to play at the Premier League level yet. So I don't think he would benefit at all from even being on the bench. So the 100% we do need some sort of cover in there, especially if Ellie goes. Listen, Ellie might not go the night. So if Ellie doesn't go the night, you're kind of looking at this going like, actually, we've got a really good forward line. We don't need anything up there at all.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I agree, the front three looks good when they're all available.
5, 6 players there now that can do something up there, right? So if Ellie goes, it's a different thing. But yeah. I think that's kind of where we are. For me, the big gap right now is once McCowan signs, right? It's left centre back and left back.
I think, back to your question earlier on, Harry, I think the players I would like to see leave or would be open to leaving, finally got my list together. Max Boric, Noan Kenna, Harry McCurdy. I would be open to letting Luke Amos go, Rocky Bashiri go, and Dylan Levitt go.
Oh no,
I like Dylan Levitt,
The
but
Dylan one annoys me, to be honest, but
I'd get
I
rid of
really
other
like Dylan
midfielders
Levitt.
far quicker than Levitt.
totally
I
fine.
like Dylan Levitt, but I just, and obviously Jake Doyle Hayes, question marks there, but I think it feels pretty safe now that he's not going to go, doesn't it?
It
What do you
feels pretty
think?
safe that a lot of them aren't going to go at this stage. I think it's far too late for any good number of them to be moving out now. But
I'd be surprised, Craig, if there's not loan interest in Nolan Kenna. You just based it. He did play a lot of games last season for Shrewsbury and
down
obviously played a
south,
lot for
yeah.
Ross County. I'd be surprised if there's not at least interest in taking him on loan for the season. And maybe we're just holding on to the last minute to do it.
Maybe wages are a wee bit of a barrier as well in terms of some of the clubs that'll be interested in him. I guess it'll be a lot of sort of League Two clubs, and is he not meant to be on a lot of
Decent
He's
money?
money.
on good money.
Aye, decent money.
So
Yeah,
I think that could be a barrier. But at the same time, but from Hibs' point of view, it's just if we can get somebody to take him and pay some of his wages, it's better than paying him the full whack, I suppose, really, isn't it?
100%. 100%.
Shrewsbury are League One, isn't it?
They are, aye.
Aye, so he'd be looking to go back to League One. I think he did all right there. I think he's another one he's probably a little bit like Triantis, to be honest. He's kind of became a number six, despite playing as a kind of centre back when he was younger. And I think we missed a trick by not actually trying to play him as a centre back, because I thought it was a good signing when we got him, but it just kind of at a time whenever we made a single mistake, we got absolutely crucified for it. He made a couple of mistakes and didn't track back against, I think it was Livingston or something, and he got absolutely bullied for that. I always thought there was a player there, but not in the way we're playing football now. So that's another thing, right? We're constantly changing the squad, but we're constantly changing the fucking manager. So at some point, if a sporting director is going to start running the football team, it has to be you're bringing in a coach that's going to play in a certain style all the time, right? So we know when we're buying players in, they're going to be able to play to that style. We can't keep just going through this rigmarole of just chucking 9 players out every season because the new guy that's going to come in is going to start playing 4-3-3 or 3-5-2 or whatever, or play a different kind of setup, right? Or it just feels like we're doing it again.
Such
Even
a clear lack of plan at the
aye,
club over the
aye,
last sort of 3-4 years.
even with David Gray taking over, right? You think like he's sat and watched that for the last couple of years, right? Were they not happy with the way that Monty was taking the club? If that's the case, then fine, right? But let's be really clear on what we're going to do now and build a squad that allows us to give Gray a chance and then give the next guy a chance without having to say, right, okay, I need to get rid of 10 of these players because they won't fit my style of play. We've got so many players that just don't seem to fit the current style of play or even the style of play before that because Monty got rid of half of them.
Yeah, no, it's. I feel like we're probably like two managers overlapped at the moment.
Aye.
It's just madness. It's gone on a wee bit. Well, it's gone on far too long that we've just been directionless and just ploughing on every season. You don't give a manager enough time and have enough patience with it to try and get their players in, get their style. I'm not really that keen on the word style, to be fair, in a football sense, but we've just been far too trigger happy recently. And I think now you're, like you say, Dave, we're left with a squad of players that's just a combination of the last number of managers at Hibs, and it's clearly not going to work. And it's clearly going to take a bit of time to sort out as well, as we're finding out. And we're all saying, we're sitting here, what is it, an hour and 10 minutes until the deadline, and we're all wanting rid of about 7 players. That's not really the best, is it?
No, it's no. Sean Corrigan on Twitter's picked up on that comment from Malky Mackay in the Nectar announcement saying, fair play to the recruitment team on this one. What a job this man is doing as well. It's fair to say that the statement could have been rushed, to be fair. I mean, based on how late in the day it's happened, it could have been rushed and they've just put something in a generic quote, but It's obviously not really what you're wanting to hear.
I'd much rather they say we were impressed last time Nectar was at the club, but saying we identified him at the start of the window. When he was at, what was he when he was at the club? Was he an unidentified player that was playing in the six role?
I've just
For
saw
fuck's sake.
Emma Evening News have just tweeted something, right? And it's like, Hibs boss expects new boy to dominate after deadline day move. And it's just, maybe, and I'm going to read the article, but it's maybe just said the word dominate at some point during the article and they've picked up on that and all the rest of it, right? But I kind of don't get how a midfield that includes Kwon and Netka are going to dominate anything. They're just, they're not. They're just
To be
not.
fair,
They're not ball players.
that's like when the Daily Record say that we're going to sign some under 21s player from a random English team and they call him one of their star players.
Aye.
I think they're just using the word.
And Lee Johnson tells you that loads of top clubs were after him, and we were really lucky to get his signature
Yeah.
with a couple of players that were signed.
Fucking hell, Motherwell are really lucky, eh?
What have they done?
Signed Tavares, got the best player in Scotland within a year.
Yeah, player.
Yeah.
Get a right in slang from, to be honest. So that article says Nectar Triantis has been ordered to dominate the middle of the pitch by Hibs boss David Gray. And they've turned that in. We think he'll dominate football from now on. It's just it's journalism.
Yeah.
Well, in good news, Stewarty Boy's going to dominate some cheese on toast now. So that's good for you, Stewarty Boy. I'm glad. Solid stuff. Send us a picture on Twitter. We want to see
How is like? Is it going to go through our letterboxes?
Can we talk about something that we've not talked about in the podcast yet so far as Malky Mackay and well, we've talked about Malky Mackay to be clear. We've talked about him a fair bit, but Michael Stewart, every time his name's brought up, have you noticed how he keeps on saying that he's a good football person making good football decisions? And that's what's been wrong with Hibs, is we've not had good football people making good football decisions. Has anyone heard that? He's trotted that line at least 3 times recently.
Football folk ken what's going on. Well, you know that, right? So they look out for each other, and that's exactly what's happening there.
Do you think Michael Stewart and Malky are maybe pals?
I think they maybe
Wouldn't
are.
surprise me.
As are the vast majority of people that work with SFA or do things with SFA and all the rest of it. Like, it is just an
What did Michael Stewart do in the SFA?
SFA.
Okay.
That's
come on, that is shocking, Dave.
Aye. Michael Stewart's some guy, yeah.
Mental.
I wish we could get him on for 15 minutes. He would help us fill us a bit of content. He's got an opinion on fucking everything, man.
I chatted to him on the radio that time. He was agreeing with me because I was saying Hibs were shite, and he was like, "Couldn't you agree more, mate?" And I was like, "We're on the same page, my friend." And that was it. I didn't call him my friend because he's not. Did you see that? Sorry, I'm going on a tangent now. When I was on Super Scoreboard and Halliday was on, and I called him Halliday, and his face dropped and he looked absolutely livid. That was
What's his name like?
Well, Andy Halliday, but I just said Halliday as if he was
like some sort of,
it was like he was some sort of throwaway character, and he wasn't happy at all. Like I was like, that was good content, Harry.
Just call him the guy that's married to some fucking TikTok star or something, isn't
he? Is he?
You're not more well known for that now.
Fuck's sake.
What my kids tell me.
He's still at Motherwell, eh?
I have no idea.
Aye, pish. All right, well, boys, apparently we're expecting a signing in the next 5 minutes. There's not been a teaser up yet, has there?
Nah.
No, just
and I'm getting it tight in the comments because it's 5 to 10 and it's not happened. All I would say to you, George, an alternative Hibs, is it's no 10 o'clock yet.
I just
and at 10:01 I'll be leaving this YouTube live if the signing's not been made, and I'll let you abuse me behind my back. No, we did hear earlier on that there was some movement expected very, very shortly. So whether you choose to stay with us is up to you or not.
You're staying with us. You've joined us now. If things go haywire, you're here with us. This is a crime we're all complicit in, guys. And according to us, when we first started, I believe about 7 minutes in, so about 8:10, say, Dave was confident that we'd signed Luke McCowan by 10 o'clock. Someone work out the driving time to get from Dundee to East Mains.
I think I said that about 9 o'clock after there was 2 martinis in, to be honest.
All right. So in seriousness though, Is there any players that we want to throw out there that we're going to guess that we've signed in the next 4 minutes now? You've lost another minute there, Liam. It's looking grim for you, my friend.
We're signing someone for Bournemouth. Let me have a wee look at Bournemouth's resis and see who we're bringing in.
I was gutted about there was a couple of development strikers that have gone away to like Crawley and places like that, right? Where we sent I think we sent Jojo Wallacott down to Crawley. There was a lad that was playing up front for them that was banging in goals, and there was another laddie, Da Costa. I don't know where he went. If he went to Crawley, but I thought he would have been good as well because he plays on the wings and plays up front. But they've all gone, and I do think it is part of the little disagreement that we had, because those are players that if you're going down to fucking Crawley, then you could learn a bit more coming up to the Hibs, to be honest, surely. But
Maybe not good enough for Hibs though, to be fair, if they're going to Crawley.
But I think they're covered. I think that whole idea of David Gray saying there's a sprinkling of stardust coming. Well, unless we're getting, who's the guy who was at the Jambos?
Dimitri Mitchell.
The centre back.
Oh, Jimmy Dunn. Yeah.
No. The big centre back at Bournemouth.
Oh,
Bournemouth.
James Hill.
Oh, James Hill.
James Hill.
Aye.
I could see him coming up because he's not going to get much game time. But they're saying they're a bit short of players in there as well. But I can't believe that
They let Chris Metham go out and loan to Sunderland. I seen he was playing for them a couple of seasons ago. So, I mean that James Hill's under contract still for another year or two. So, I think it's unlikely given he played quite a lot of games for Blackburn in the Championship last season. But you never know.
Apparently, Sky Sports are rumouring that McCowan's getting closer to a Celtic move. Why would they need McCowan as a transfer deadline day signing? Just piss off.
They've got plenty of money. They don't know what to do with it. They may as well, for their point of view, they may as well sign him. $1 million to them is nothing at the moment. They've got millions upon millions in the bank, and they'll just think, "Oh, we'll sign him, and if he plays, he plays. If he doesn't, it's only $1 million."
Billy Gilmore's completed to Napoli as well.
Oh, we'll not be getting him then.
I thought that was going to be the big signing, to be honest. Fucking Ben Kinsey promising me things that never happened.
All right, Dave. Mikey mentioned it earlier. He said that there was actually a left-footed centre back at Raith Rovers that he thinks would do a job for Hibs. What's your take on that?
I retweeted that actually because he did his little PR thing. I think it was yesterday. He was talking about coming back to fitness because he had a minor Achilles injury. I was talking to him outside the game at the Celtic game we had last week, and said he was enjoying his football and all the rest of it. And then the thing came up on Raith Rovers Twitter the other day. There, I just like, what a fucking mistake we've made there. To just not just say, "I'm just there's your year deal. Bring these two players in, get them through." Then go away, right? Give them the final year, a little bit of consistency in there, a left-sided player, let Uhura be the right-sided proper player, right? Are you laughing at me at my pronouncement of Uhura?
It's like you went down a slide halfway. Oh, whoo!
Too much Star Trek watching as a youth. So yeah,
I got that one.
Yeah, to me, it was an absolute no-brainer. We should have kept Paul for another year, and that's not just me saying it. I think there was plenty of people that thought the same thing, and it would have been just a little bit of consistency, and it was too much change. We've got a whole different defence now, and nobody who has that leadership in the team yet because they're all new. So having him there just to like the level-headed and the goal we lost at the weekend, that wouldn't have happened, and a few other bits and bobs wouldn't have happened. But listen, Paul Hanlon was coming to the end of his career at Hibs, but another year wouldn't have been a bad thing.
Yep, I agree with Dave. Totally agree. I think when we done our sum up at the end of the season, was he not on the bench for most of us? I said at the time that I thought it was a mistake letting Hanlon leave, and I think maybe that has come true now. I think he would have been steady in there, certainly more steady than maybe it's been shown so far. I still think he was well good enough for Hibs. Certainly, maybe not to play every game, but certainly to be in and about the squad. I think it's a shame.
Aye, no idea. Well, guys, just to kind of drag a stake into the heart, or drive a stake into the heart, should I say? Brian McLaughlin, BBC Sport. Thank you, Mark Wright, for sending this. A verbal agreement has been reached between Celtic and Dundee for the transfer of Luke McCowan. The player is now on his way to Glasgow to complete the deal. Um, that's great news. We're bringing you nothing but positivity tonight, guys. Nothing but absolute bangers. We are currently at -1 minute from when we
Who's
signed our player pre-10
who's
o'clock.
that? Brian McLaughlin, is that
BBC
horrible
Scotland.
fat bastard that hangs out in Easter Road? Him.
You
A
tell me, Dave. It sounds like you know who you're talking about, my friend.
horrible human being. And I don't know why we let him in the ground, to be honest. But there you go.
Right, well, note to self: don't tell Dave, or don't report that Luke McCowan's not signing for Hibs to Dave, or he'll call you very nasty names on the Down the Slope podcast. Yeah, not looking good on the McCowan front now, and hopefully we'll get a signing to kind of G up the spirits. Because as I say, I think we're content that Nectar Triantis is back, but I don't think that it's quite the needle pusher we were hoping for. Um, Aye. Was there any players that have signed as well that we've no covered off?
So you missed a fair few, to be honest, right? So sub goalie.
All right. Thank you, Dave, for bringing up someone who's going to play maybe 6 games for Hibs. Perfect. All right. Move
Okay,
on. Next.
there you go. Right. We're saying
Kukurevich,
players. We never mentioned the players earlier.
Kukurevich, Kwan.
Craig talked about Kukurevich. We all talked about Kwon throughout. Junior Hoyle.
Nah, we talked about him.
Aye.
Must
Yeah,
do.
it's quite small.
Nah, I don't think we really have, to be honest. I think we've covered everyone, mate.
Aye. Brutal. And then we can look at the players that we got rid of. And if we wish that we'd kept any of them. Dan Mackay, anyone? Cover at left back? Left wing,
Left
sorry.
back.
I meant left wing you. I'm tired and I'm warm in this room because I have to shut my window when I'm recording the
Probably
podcast.
would be good at left back, to be honest. Better than Egwa that you wanted to play there earlier.
I didn't. N'Golo Granty, go and comment that again because I'm getting thrown under the bus for your cheek. All right,
You know,
chuck
we
the
didn't
bus.
talk about is Dylan Vente. I don't think we've
Oh,
mentioned
that's a
him.
good shout.
He's-
That to me, if we're not signing a striker tonight, that is fucking brain dead. Like, what? I know he's not in the best of form, and I know he doesn't really look like he's going to do much in this system. Whatever, as we say, we don't really know what David Gray's trying to make happen at the moment. I'm hoping it comes to fruition after a few extra bodies in tonight. But why on earth did we let Dylan Vente go if we didn't have a contingency plan to replace him? Because even if he's not starting every week, it's better to have a striker than not have a striker. Like it's just totally mental to me we've let him go.
strange, especially if there is no backup plan.
Mm.
And it's also strange that we're bidding that much from McCowan coming up to the deadline, and it'll be very, very strange if we've not got something else lined up, sort of waiting. I think that's really going to cause a lot of issues amongst the support if there's nothing to come.
Aye. Siebel said, surely have a backup for McCowan, or is it Nectar? I think it might be Nectar, mate.
It's Bashiri, mate.
To be fair, people have said to me, in terms of defensive mid, if in doubt, put Rocky Bashiri or Lewis Miller
Four
there.
number sixes. Play 4 number 6s. Excellent.
Who
I
needs 4? Are you going to
Levine ball.
5?
I just saw a guy on Twitter, Kevin Williamson, who's quite well known amongst Hibs support, I think. Keenan from Hibs have switched their attention from Luke McCowan to getting 4 tickets for Oasis tomorrow. There you go. So that may be the same price. So 750 grand should maybe get you a couple of tickets tomorrow. All these young under 50s that are taking all the tickets of the people that actually know about Oasis.
By the way, guys, just to rub it in your faces, Craig actually managed to nab himself a couple of tickets.
I actually
Right.
got 4.
All right, well done, Paul. Well done. I hope you enjoy it. I'll send you all the details of the songs you sing.
Thanks, mate.
Some
Steve,
of that. I saw Pulp. I've seen Blur. I saw Blur in Italy last year. Much better than Oasis. But I'll take the Oasis tickets when they come to me.
thank you for that, Dave. Stephen 21010 said, really hope we keep Johan. Mikey thankfully corrected him and said Youan. And then I Golf J Tweetler said, on the bright side, we keep our 1 mil. So I'm just going to open it up and make it a more casual question. If you had 1 mil to spend on improving Hibs in some capacity that wasn't a player, what would you spend? What would you want the club to spend that money on?
Sporting director. And what is Marshall's title? Can't mind.
Oh, is he not like assistant to the sporting director? That's what I'm going to call him
Uh,
from now on until he actually gets
a
established.
research team to come up with new names.
Ah, Jesus. Dave, what about yourself? £1 million Hibs have to throw at something that isn't a player.
See what happened at the, and I know that the viewers will have no sympathy with me at all. But what happened at the last game is that we've always walked from the Albion bar to our seat in the West Stand, and it's never been a bother, right? And under our new security arrangements, they won't let us walk through the Edinburgh Club because I don't know if they think we're just like stealing our way into the Edinburgh Club, which we're not interested in going there. We just like to have a couple of pints in the Albion before we go in. So that's now no longer allowed. So with my £1 million, I would create a red carpet for anyone from the Albion bar to walk directly to their seat and to be applauded into the ground as they come to your seat for the effort they put into Hibernian, supporting Hibernian, and not spending their time on Twitter slagging Hibernian. I think that'd be a really nice thing.
I think that was a beautiful thing, Dave, and I thank you for saying it. And so much so that George has said Dave is the only reason that he's still here. So thank you, Dave, for keeping George here. Mike said fill in the corners. Alternative Hib said Youan's going to feel like a new signing at this rate. Yep, don't actually disagree with that. Robert Watson, a new sporting director and CEO. Sibo said Boyle's hair. This is for the things they would spend £1 million on. Craig Toghill said an East Stand bar. How would that make you feel, Dave? If the
That's
East
coming.
Stand was
That's
it?
coming. That was always in the plan. So there you go. I'll give you some inside information. They're going to build a kind of halfway so that the East Stand goes up like that one thing, right? So they're going to build out from in the back concourse, and there'll be steps going up, and there'll be a bar in there for people to sit and have a drink. And that'll come either next season or the year after. Always in the plan.
Nice.
And you'll have to pay like fucking £6 a pint of tenants and £7 for a pint of shitey innocent guns. So that's the other issue you've got with it.
Well, Craig, you're in luck, my friend. That £1 million is going to good use from you.
I liked
Yeah.
iGolf tweeter, whatever his name is, right? Get Rudy on a 5-year deal. You need more than £1 million for that. I'm going to tell you right now, right? That laddie will make us 3-4 million quid in the next few years.
But sure, if he's going to make it £3-4 million in the next 3 years, then we just keep on him, and then we just,
And
get
we
him
keep
for even
him.
more.
We keep him. We have to play him in the 10. Right? Didn't play him as a left winger. He's got a left foot because he was well coached as a young boy, right? But he's a number 10 all day long.
All right, well, I don't disagree. I think he looks comfortable there. Bertie Harris said, just seen something. McCurdy going Swindon, McGurk coming to us. No offense to Swindon, but I don't really want another Swindon player.
Gurk.
I
Sean
don't know.
McGurk. I googled it. He's looks like he's played mostly in the Premier League too. So he's a youth player. I'm sure Ewan will be absolutely buzzing at the thought of
That's a
that.
good swap. I'm all for it. If he
Oh, Jesus.
turns up and wears his tracksuit, then that's good.
Christ. N'Golo Grante said Meg will play left back before Nicky Cadden does. Screenshot it and bookmark it. Jane,
Celtic's bid is 1 million plus add-ons. There's no
Aye.
fucking point getting involved in that. It's just
it's
nonsense.
just a bit much.
Utter nonsense. And just ruins Scottish football, to be honest. Aladdin's going to just sit on the bench for the next couple of years and play 2 or 3 games when he has to, and that's it. Utter waste. And don't get me wrong, he'll get 20 grand a week or whatever, right? So he'll make a good living, but he'll never play football again. What a waste.
Oh my God, that can't be right. Apparently, it's £4.60 for a square sausage roll.
Where?
And the behind the bar or whatever it's called, behind the
Yeah,
goals.
I don't know, but they didn't really. I've never had a square sausage roll, but I don't know. Don't know. It's not cheap. It is not cheap. To be £6 for a pint of tennis is fucking outrageous. But there you go.
It's bang out of order, like. Unfortunately, lads, we were told that we were supposed to be getting another signing in, and we are now
Come on,
what do you call it? 10, 11 minutes past 10, and we've not got anybody.
you're gonna hang up on us, and then all the signs are gonna come.
Okay, 100%. It's always the way. Another player that we could potentially regret, Ewan Henderson. Would he have done anything this season?
He's not going to come back to Hibs, is he?
No, no, no. We've sold him. I'm just saying in theory, is that a potential
Oh,
miss?
you know what? For a second there, that's two martinis and a glass of wine. I was thinking of Liam Henderson.
Oh, that'd be a sign. I wouldn't mind that at all.
He'll never come back to Scotland. He's ingrained in the Italian culture and he absolutely loves it. So no, I think Ewan isn't really a Scottish type football player.
No.
He's got all the skills and all the rest of it, but he will continue to improve in a place where he gets a little bit more time on the ball and doesn't get absolutely battered every time he gets the ball, which is just the way we play football in Scotland, unfortunately.
Aye. Brutal. All right, you two chat a second. I'm going to open my window because I'm
So I was
sweating, by the
actually
way.
just going to
Jesus.
say, the boy John Greakin again, he's on Twitter saying that Hibs are, quote, ferociously working on incomings, which maybe could have been a bit more ferocious about 3 or 4 weeks ago. That would have helped.
It is that thing though that, and I know we hear this pish from managers and sponsors all the time, right? But it's like, oh, you're waiting for the dominoes to fall. Like that player goes there, that player goes there. See if you end up and it's all like free transfers or players that are already looking to get moved out, then you're right. They could have been done ages ago. But a lot will depend on the fact that if Luke McCowan has gone to Celtic, a lot will depend on, right, so what are we doing after that? Are we going to wait to buy a player, or are we going to get a couple of players on a loan and wait till next year? Because they always said this was always going to be like a stepping stone towards next year. Right? And it was going to take a couple of windows to get through and all the rest of it, right? We've signed 9, 10, 10 players, whatever, right? So I think it's about making sure you're getting the right players in now. We still massively require someone that does the running in the middle of the park. So if we get that in, we get covered at centre back, we get covered at left back, then it's fine. And I fully expect that to happen tonight. And again, if Jair doesn't go out, then I don't think we should be too unhappy. Up front, we look fucking solid, to be honest. If Jair doesn't go.
Do you think Rudy will be that man in the middle to do the running?
Rudy's just 18-year-old. So, yeah.
You can't rely on that for a whole season, I suppose. You're then in the burnout.
You can't. And he will run up solid on the ground. You saw that, I think you saw that against the...
Was it the weekend?
Against the St. at the weekend. We were... yeah, no, I want him to get used to that position of playing in number 10. I don't want him lifting this whole midfield through a game, which is what I think he did at the weekend.
Yeah.
The captain should be doing.
Yep, I agree. There was actually, I was going to touch on that as well on the pod on Monday, and I don't think I actually managed to get to it. I just think I love Newell, and Harry will know that I defend him stoutly, fairly consistently over the last couple of years. But something that's been frustrating me the last couple of weeks is just like, as a captain, I feel he should be more commanding and take a little bit less shit off other teams. There was a couple of occasions where Simon Murray, one in particular in the first half, where he stands over the ball and stops us taking a quick free kick, and just nobody in the Hibs team done anything about it. And I was like, somebody should be going over there and pushing him off the ball. Don't get yourself booked or anything like sort of to that level, but just show a bit of fight back to these types of dark arts. And I'm looking at Newell, and he was just kind of standing looking at it. And I thought, mate, go over and have a go back. Then I just lie down and take it. I just feel we're a bit too soft and a wee bit too passive, not just in a football sense, but like in a mentality sense as well.
I've said for a very long time, John Yule's not captain material. He's never been captain material. I think he can be a good leader if there's other leaders like that'll be in the forefront. Like for me, that I know it's just one instant. You shouldn't pin someone's whole career in one instant. But the red card that Hampden for me, that was enough to say that he's never going to be a captain for Hibs. That was just as far as I'd seen it. And like, yeah, for me, O'Hara's probably got the best leadership skills in the team. If I was Gray, I would have just been bold and I would have said, "You're my man now. I want you to go out there and I want you to be my captain. Like go and lead the team. Give someone responsibility to actually go and do it." As we've seen from you, as you just touched on there, he's not the type of guy at the moment that seems like he'll kind of G himself up. And realistically, I think with the signings that we're going to get on the last 45 minutes of the window, I don't think we're going to get any leaders. I don't think we're going to get any players that will be the type to go in. Like we got lucky with CJ Egan-Riley on loan, but very rarely do you get a player that's probably. I'd be surprised if we signed anybody older than 24. That's going to actually join this Hibs team, and when our backs against the wall is actually going to get the players up and running. Because who did we lose last year? Stevenson, Hanlon, Marshall, like three veteran players that you
Yeah,
could
it's a
look
lot
to
of
in
old
the
heads.
dressing room. You've got a young coaching staff as well who are pretty inexperienced. Like they're just not helping themselves. Um, yeah, there's a lot of holes, and then even outside of the holes, there's a lot of other like mental spots in the team that just don't seem like they're going to help cover up for that at all. John McGlynn said, "What's it all about?" I mean, really, what is it all about? Asking for myself, John. If we knew, we'd tell you, my friend. I don't think we even know what it's all about at this point. We were really hoping Hibs were going to kick into gear. I remember me and Craig were saying that I think we said five was the number that we'd hoped for in the last week. And we've so far we didn't sign anyone else early in the week, did we? Nectar's our first signing since Quan.
Uh,
Aye.
I think
That's
so.
mental.
Aye.
Fucking hell.
Our eggs were very much in this basket, right?
Yeah.
And by what we're hearing, it's gone pear-shaped, which I'm massively disappointed about. But as reporters are saying, we're working hard to get other people in. But in those people in are second, third, fourth choices, right? And that is just that you know that is where we are as a club right now. We haven't built up in the correct areas at the right time. We've in my mind, we've bought in far too many players that are development project type players, rather than. And I know I've spoken about this on your pod a fair few times, but the spine of the team is the basic of every team, and we've never, in my view, had a way to constantly improve that year on year, and that's all you need to do. Constantly improve the spine of your team, and then chuck your flair players around there on the outsides, and then you'll be fine. And we've never done it. We've had opportunities to buy players in, we've never done it. And the hope is and was that changing the setup and getting a sporting director and all the rest of it would change that. And we've announced Triantis. So
Yeah.
and as I say, I'm very much in the happy clapper type person, and I do stick up for the club as much as I possibly can. But if this is what we're coming to at the end of a transfer window, that all we're bringing out of it is Triantis, then that's majorly disappointing. And there's no other way to look at it than saying it's majorly disappointing, because that's a player we could have signed 6 weeks ago. That could have been arranged. Remember, it has been arranged 6 weeks ago, and we're just like waiting till the night to fire it forward. As this is a great player we've signed. It's just like why
We're waiting to see if they could get anybody better. That's probably what it was.
why bring in Kwon? Why have Amos? Why have Mariah Welsh? It's just like I'm not seeing any structure to the type of players that we're trying to buy, and where they're going to play, and how we're going to play, and all the rest of it. So maybe we've got it all wrong, but for me, there's a massive gap in the middle of the park. And if that doesn't get shored up tonight, then top six is as much as we can ask for.
Well, I think if you go back to the what do you call it? If you go back to our end of season last year, start season this year, if you asked me the signings that we wanted, I said I wanted a left-footed centre back. And I'm not being dramatic. We started this podcast over 4 years ago, and I said I wanted a left-sided centre back, and we've still not fucking signed one. And I've said it every window since, and I'll continue saying it until we do. So in January, 1st of January, I'll be saying I want a left-sided centre back. I said I wanted a box-to-box midfielder. That we didn't have and we still don't have. as I say, I like Josh Campbell. I think he's a useful player to have in the squad. I don't think he's the type of player that you can rely upon week in, week out. And he does often have to have a couple of weeks out the team after hitting a bit of like a patch of bad form. And I also would have said I wanted a backup striker. If we'd kept Venti, I would have been very happy with our attacking options, assuming that Youan was staying as well. But yeah, I just think that we had very, very, very glaring holes that we needed to fill. I don't think it was impossible to fill them, but with less than 40 minutes on the clock, it's looking pretty unlikely that we do. And it's hard not to be frustrated. George Harding's put in hearing Aaron Rudden to Hibs from Blackburn. Craig slash Dave, any knowledge slash Craig, get on the Google search for that now, my friend.
Never,
Yeah, I'm on it.
never heard of him.
No, never heard of him either. I play a
Heard
lot
of
of Football
Zach Brown.
Manager and I end up doing there, but no, I've not heard of Aaron Rudden.
Hudden or Rudden?
Rudden, Rudden. Aye. Jane Alexander said, "Who actually wants to come to Hibs now? Minority of the support are scumbags, and club is in a mess. This is the reason we aren't attracting players."
That's wrong.
Being honest, I think that the fans aren't exactly covering themselves in glory, but I don't think for the most part, if you're from England, you're going to care too much about the fan base. But I agree. Sorry, the fact that the club's a mess. We're not going to give the highest wages in the world to compensate for the fact that we're massively underperforming on the pitch. So for a lot of players, RK's made that up, hasn't he? Hibs have had a mill accepted for McCowan. Will be tweets about this shortly. All right, very good. Thank you, RK. I'm sure that's true. That'll be a Dundee fan or a Hibs fan in disguise there, eh? Or a Hibs fan, sorry, a Hearts fan in disguise there. Kenny Whitson said, "We played Celtic 2 weeks in a row and watched McGregor v Newell as captain, and Newell is not a captain." Yeah, there's that. I always think, as I said, I think it's harsh to rate a player based on how they play against Celtic. Like Celtic are just that far ahead of us. What's happening with signing Bob Affleck? Heard a lot about him this past couple of weeks. Now no one's saying a thing.
Who?
Bob, I think is that a funny name that I've messed up? Bob Affleck?
Yeah.
Bob Affleck?
Bobby Flick. I don't know.
Oh, Bobby Flick. All right, fair enough. His name's Amir Khan. He can
I
probably
thought he
back
was an
me.
actor.
I was thinking that. Is it Ben Affleck or something? I don't know.
It's one of
It's
his
his
brothers.
brother.
Bobby Affleck.
Oh, right. I'd take him at this point, to be fair. Just sign fucking anybody to get us excited. Fuck me, man. Aye. Oh.
Listen, if Liam Cooper comes in as the central defender before 11 p.m, then you'll all be buzzing anyway. So
Aye, no, we'd rightfully be buzzing like, but the only thing is, what's the point in signing a free transfer on deadline day? Just sign him
I know
bloody tomorrow, eh?
it's a bit.
I'm finding it quite funny that the Dundee fans' reaction to losing their player to Celtic is to like get it up your Hibs. Fucking hell! Is that? What's our best player? But at least it's not you guys.
Yeah, it's good banter though.
It's good banter. Well done to them. Well done to the wee guys.
Can't hell. Scotsman reporting Hibs will sign centre half before 11. Kenny said avoiding relegation would be good. Apparently, Bob Affleck plays for Coventry. If he's real, fair enough. I'll need to Google it. I'm good. This is going to blow up in my face by googling.
Bobby Flick doesn't play for Coventry, surely. Or was he sent to Coventry? Right, Scotsmen are suggesting a player before 11. There'll be more than one player. Like, if there is only one player, then yeah, I'm all for people actually losing their shit on Twitter.
Right.
Got to be more going out as well.
Aye.
Apparently, somebody on Twitter saying that David Gray liked McCowan for the player, not for filling the position. He was more just keen on the actual player and all that.
I'm just reading that now. John Greakin, who's the Evening News guy, I think he's also a coach at Edinburgh South for one of the girls' teams. I think there's a little bit of background thing for you. UEFA B license. McCowan was about the player, not filling a specific position. Gray likes him because of what he has, what he represents. He has plenty of midfielders, but a CB definitely, striker hopefully. See the fact that he's calling that out though, that he likes him because he's the type of player he is. That's just what we're talking about. It's not about we don't have a 6, we don't have a 10. It's about a player that runs their fucking arse off and wins the ball back for you and gets forward and creates chances as well.
Yeah.
It's all good and well, David Gray saying that's the type of player he likes. Then maybe tell the players that are there that's what they need to do. I've seen amazing YouTube clips of Luke Amos running up and down the park, making tackles and breaking lines and all the rest of it. And that's not happened yet. And I know he's recovering from injury and all the rest of it, but if he's fit and ready to play now, we should be seeing that. We should be seeing that from other players. So I don't know. We can't just keep looking for players of a certain type. At some point, we need to be playing to a certain system and making the best of the players we have.
Aye. Few other comments came in. Chris and Jane Ward said, "Guys, I'm currently driving to the Rocky Mountains of Canada on a camping trip. Can you please run through the ins and outs of this window? Thanks, Chris." We'll give you today. We got in Triantis. That's it. We got rid of Jair and Del Ferrier on loan. That is it, my friend. Enjoy your camping. Raymond Brown said, "There's a reflection going on here that is basing our window on tonight. We've brought in loads more than we've ever expected. We'd all love more, but I well, the thing is, have we brought in a high volume? Yes. Have we brought in covering the right areas? Absolutely not. Like, obviously, we needed centre backs because we decided to let all the centre backs go last year. But as mentioned, if we were getting rid of a striker, we need to bring one in. Like, I don't know how people, sorry to call the people even on this podcast out, I don't know how people went into the season thinking the midfield we had was adequate. Like, the midfield we had was never going to cut it this year. I didn't want to say it blatantly, but now that we've seen them function and not like we've not played with a midfield in the opening four league games. Like they've been or three league games or whatever it is. Like they've been completely anonymous. It's mental. Like we've literally just had a bypass in the middle of the park that the three teams we played against have been able to walk through. We scored from two set pieces if you count a thrown as a set piece against Dundee. And aside from that, we didn't like everything we do, we go out wide, and that's how we create our chances. We need someone in the middle of the park that can
Is that
actually
is that
connect
not
things.
because of the style of play we've started playing rather than the players that we had it? So
I don't think so.
we
I just
said
don't think.
when we said our midfield was good enough to do something for the season ahead, that was assuming we were going to continue with the experiment that Monty was going through of building a different way of playing, but playing it from the back and playing through players and all the rest of it. We've completely abandoned that. And again, that's why we have to go away and now buy completely different players. So yeah, I still stand by the fact that the players we had to play in a certain style were fine, but we're no longer playing it from the back. If we're not doing that, then we need a completely different team again. And if we're going to do that, you know what's going to happen, right? The BKs are going to come in and sack our sporting director, sack our manager, and we start all over again and we end up having to get 50 new players next season. It's just going to start all over again because it's just that constant rigmarole of just like going round and round and round, replacing players in positions, and then playing a completely different style of football again. Just do have a style, stick to it. Follow the BK group's idea of this is how we want you all to play football. Play this way, then we can swap players around between the groups, get them in, and they'll know how to play. If you're not going to do it, then just forget about the whole take on. Forget about getting players from Bournemouth. Forget about getting players from anywhere. Just go and find the best, hard-working championship players and get them in there and play like Livingston or Dundee or Kilmarnock and the rest of it. Do that, and then we'll get to top four, and that'll be it. Like, there has to be, at some point, there has to be somebody saying, this is how we're going to play, and we're going to keep doing it for the next few years, rather than constantly fucking chopping and changing. There you go. That's my sixpence. Done.
It's
That
fair
was- that
points, though.
was-
To be honest, that is fair points. Like that we need to stick with something. We can't just keep chopping and changing. It's absolutely pointless. And I think, as much as it's maybe a wee bit reactionary to say, but I feel like a lot of our season kind of depends on what happens in the next half an hour. It's disappointing to say the least. Feel entirely underwhelmed, and that's not a slight on Triantis because I think he's a decent player, but it's not what we were looking for, really, is it? And the unless something drastically changes the whole trust the process stuff is looking fairly dodgy at the moment. I would say the wee bit egg on the face there.
Aye.
My face.
No, 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 no.
That's the process. Listen,
One of the other BKs.
it's all bollocks. Right? We all know it's bollocks, right? We're all human beings. We realise that people just say things to make fans calm down a little bit, and they'll promise us this or promise us that. We all know we're all human beings. We're all adults. We all know it's all bollocks, right? They are just like, trying their best to get the players in they can, but they are just basically scrambling around on the various apps that they've got, trying to find players to fit positions. Right? It is no different. People think that there's mythical sporting director role where they have to spend like 6 months looking after a player. It's utter nonsense. It's made up nonsense. It's a made up role. Right? Just like there's a player. We need a centre mid that's predominantly right footed. Let's go and find who we can find on the database. There you go. Right. Let's go and speak to the club. Let's go and get him. That's it. That's what it takes. We've followed him for 6 months. Stop talking shite. Stop making this into some massive fucking thing that it's not. Like this the black box, the black room that they all sit in and watch all these players and talk about these players. What a load of nonsense, honestly. Like, we're the Scottish Prem. We're a mid-table team in the Scottish Prem. There are a million players out there that can make us better. Just go get them. Just go get them and stop talking about stuff. Just go and get them.
Like football doesn't really have to be that hard. I think even when you're setting up a team, when you're doing the training, that just literally in Scottish football, if you get all the simple stuff right, you'll do well. You'll get top six every season. It's really not that hard. The reason that we didn't get top six last year is because we shot ourselves in the foot time after time, wasting chance after chance and giving away stupid goal after stupid goal from crosses. This year so far against St Mirren, we weren't great, but we were in the game, and then we gifted them a goal, we gifted them a second, and we got pumped. And then against Celtic, they were always going to pump us. But the two goals we conceded were pish. Against Celtic away, we were in the game, gifted a goal away. Against Dundee, the only player so far that seems consistently solid at the back decides, here, let's switch off in the last minute of the game. That'll be a laugh. And we drop points again. Like, if Hibs could just actually start doing the fundamentals properly, we'd be in such a better position, even with the squad that we've got. Um, but yeah, would you say going into this season that this squad we've got, if we don't make any more signings, would you say it's stronger now than it was leaving the summer window last year?
I can't remember what we left the summer window with last year, to be fair.
Aye. So obviously you didn't have Marcondes, you didn't have.
Hang on, summer window last year is before Monty.
So yeah, that was Lee Johnson.
That was Lee Johnson.
Yeah.
Aye. And Monty got like the three couple of loan players and all the rest of it, right? I don't know. That's a tricky one. I think we've changed players, and a lot of people wanted rid of the old guard. They've all gone, so we should be better for that. I don't think we are, to be honest. But that's my view, and I know I'm against a lot of Hibs fans when I say that. I don't know if we are any
I think our squad's slightly worse than it was last. Like just on the basis, I remember last year I was confident that we'd go into the season well, and my main stick with it, I don't think this squad beats. I suppose it depends on Youan. I don't think we beat Luzerne, but I suppose even the likes like Martin Boyle, I think he looked a bit fresher at the start of last season than he does now. So yeah,
So you've got that as well. You've got players that are all a year older, right? Boyle probably isn't at the level he was like a year and a half ago, whatever, right? I don't know. I think that's it's an interesting question, but you can take it in many ways. I don't think our issue is the level of our squad. There you go. That's all I'll say.
Yep.
Right. I think if we'd stuck to a project, any fucking project, whether it was the Jack Ross project or any other manager that followed him, except Lee Johnson, if we'd followed any other project after that, then 100%. I think it would have been fine. I think getting rid of Monty was fucking nonsense, to be honest. He was brought in for a reason. He was told to rip up the squad. He was told to start playing a certain manner and all the rest of it. He was told to build a squad to do certain things, and then he gets tough because the results don't go his way. So and so that's where we are now. And again, we're creating a team to fit a style of play that I think, and I hate to say it because I love David Gray, right? If results don't suddenly change, then they will turf him. They will turf him before Christmas. And you'll get someone in that'll be like, the BK group will get their say. They'll bring a manager in that says, I don't want to play this style of football. I'm not launching the ball up to Lee Miller, fucking Lewis Miller, right? And then again, like, we need 2 more windows to change it again. And it's just like,
Good point from Sibo, though. He said, can you believe we're going into the season with 3 centre backs and 1 striker? The main thing for me is we don't actually have, like, it's what you said, like, we've not even got the youth players to kind of look to, because even though I don't think he'd make a massive impact, like, we had Josh O'Connor down there, we had Landers kind of on the fritter, obviously Whitaker came out of nowhere, so we had like young youth prospects. Obviously we've got Rudy, which is amazing. Molotnikov has definitely been the shining light so far in the team. But like apart from that, I don't know any player that could potentially make that step up. It's just it's so thin. Like what if Kukurevich or Big Mick, sorry, gets himself injured tomorrow, first minute, ends up touch wood nothing, or Sunday, sorry, touch wood nothing bad happens to him. He's out for the next 4 weeks. What are we going to do? Bowie, who's apparently still getting back to fitness, are we just going to start him up top? And then touch wood again, Bowie gets injured or suspended.
I think that's the same.
What do we do?
That's the same with most teams, though, Harry. Right? So you saw it the other night there. Hearts are playing. What's the guy that's playing up top for them?
Voice or
Boyce. Aye, he's done.
he's
Right?
like
Yeah, he's terrible. Eh?
So when they lose their main striker, they're absolutely goosed. Right? They're rudderless ship. Right. And maybe that's just the way that Scottish football is going. That you can't afford to have a handy player that sits in reserves. We don't have a reserve team anymore, for example, right? So, and you can't suddenly go from so Hibs under 18s team is basically like players that are like 15, 14, 16 at a push, right? They're playing in that squad. They're not going to get chucked into the first team. We didn't have a development team anymore. We don't have a reserve team anymore, right? So it's a real struggle to have somebody that can hang around and come through. And as I said before, like Landers needs to go away and play first team football somewhere like Spartans or whatever, right, and get some experience. And there's a young laddie, Dean Cleland, who's I saw him play a few months back. He's decent. He'll score goals, right? But again, these players are like still young laddies, and they need the experience in a top flight, not top flight, but a man's team, right, for want of a better word, right? And until they get through that, they're not even close to being there. So that was my point earlier on about, do we need a striker? Yes, we need a striker, but it needs to be like an old, experienced head who's happy to take like 2 or 3 grand a week to sit on the bench and be a good influence in the training park. And then when we're struggling, bring him on, and he makes it he creates the right movements. They score a goal in the last 10 minutes, and you're like, he's brilliant, all the rest of it, right? It's that kind of player you're looking for. It's an old, and I tell you who came out on the what was it, what did they call it, the PFA list of players, the unsigned players thing that they have, right? There's what's his name on there, right? And people will go mental on this in the chat, I imagine. Is it Dwight Gale?
aye, for Palace.
They played a game, eh?
Aye, right. He's 32 or something, right? And he's fucking ideal. Give him 2-3 grand a week to come up here, work hard, come on when required, and that's what it is. He's a stopgap. He's a stopgap. You need a stopgap there. And then when you've got a younger laddie that can come in and start getting some time, and it's been away and done some business somewhere else, then you bring him onto the bench. But just a little bit of experience in there that can come on when these laddies are struggling. That's all we need. I realise I've been rabbiting on, but have we got anything at all from Hibernian?
There's
Nah,
there's very little rumours and very little
Very little
movement
time
going
is
on.
my main concern here.
20 minutes. 20 minutes.
20 minutes, eh?
But did they not
Brutal.
quite often run on after and then he didn't announce somebody until
Just to
after
say,
the
guys, if there's no lick of a rumor by the time it hits 11, we are ending the stream, unfortunately.
You remember?
Um,
Remember we did the Twitter stream thing.
Twitter space. So that was the infamous Harry McCurdy Twitter space. That was banging. That was
Remember,
good.
we went for about 5 hours.
Ken. That was good. That's the only Twitter space I've ever done that people actually joined in though and actually put their hands up and said they wanted to say something because everybody was livid at the club. It was class. But yeah, and then all the young team were joining in that because it told you whoever joined there. Um, Jane's absolutely delighted about going to Kelly now. Alternative Hibs has been eating some ice cream. Kenny Whitson said Monty's not complaining. Coach at Spurs now laughing all the way to the bank. Billy
Exactly.
Forbes, yep, exactly, yep. Billy Forbes said not to sit, no, not to sit on the bench. We need another quality central defender now. Dave Graham for sporting director. I'm all for it.
his
Um,
head's going to be massive after tonight. He's been touted as
I was
a
going for
great
a
former
P, but
player
yes,
and a
he's
sporting
right.
director.
Yes. Dave Graham, the sport director. Great shit. Whoever that was. But they can't afford it.
Honestly, with the amount of Martinez that boy needs to be paid an hour. Filibustering, is he? Absolutely, he is. Craig, apologies, mate. We've got you on for a transfer deadline day special, and we've so far got Nectar Triantis, who, as we say, we're not disappointed at the signing. We were expecting fireworks because
We
that's
were
kind of
expecting a lot more, and we were kind of led to believe by certain sources that there was going to be a lot more. That at the moment hasn't materialised, which is disappointing to say the least. But I suppose we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe they're going to pull something out of the fire. I think there was a couple of folk in the chat going on about Marcondes. Uh, but and also I
John.
just want to come back. Sorry, Harry. And just say we've been done an absolute kiff of mine. Somebody said about a boy Aaron Rudden. He's in the chat, so somebody was doing us there.
Oh, was that his mate,
Yeah,
Aaron
yeah,
Rudden?
yeah.
Oh, very good. Aaron, I believe Aaron actually commented to say that he failed his medical, so unlucky.
Oh, right.
Hopefully next time we can bring you in and get you up and running, mate. That'd be magical. Um, John McEwen said 11:30 in Scotland, mate. If Hibs aren't signing
No,
anybody by 11, it's not going to 11:30,
that's not.
unfortunately.
It's 11, isn't it? It's 11 everybody.
It is 11. Aye.
Yeah.
Gavin Wilson said 6 loans and a few one-year deals building for the future. Eh. Um, we know the rules. Mike Murphy, paperwork needs to be in by 11, could be something late again. Sibo said, shite. Uh, Josh Landers broke his arm last week, is that right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
But
Dave, come
Oh,
on.
Dave,
he's not. He's not ready to play for the first team anyway, and
I
he'll
know.
play up. So it's fine. It's not an issue. He's just a young laddie. So
And not any slight on him, but it's mental that he got brought on in the. Am I not right in saying he got brought on against Aberdeen in the League Cup semi-final? That's wild. Yeah, recruitment's been an issue for years. You can win recruitment when it actually started becoming an issue when we were when Jack Ross. Like that's the moment I pin it back to. We just needed like 3 years and we had third lockdown for another season and we completely butchered that transfer window and we've suffered and went downhill ever since.
and the fucking money you would have got by being third the season after and all the rest of it, and all the money that Huddersfield got or Aberdeen got, over right, it's just ridiculous the way we decided that was the time to build a development team. It was an utter nonsense decision by the club, and that's what they're paying for. This is like how many years later? 5 years later, 4 years later, right? And we're still paying for that decision. It's a stupid, stupid thing to do.
Yeah,
just awful.
we've had a lot of mismanagement at our club over the last 5 years, and that's just yet another example.
Aye. Billy Forbes said we spent far too much time on McCowan. Should have put it to better. Should have put a time period on it and focused on a better quality player for 850k. Uh, Tam said the forwards will need binoculars to see the midfield this season.
With the I think that's a great step though. It's like a 4-4-2, but the midfield four are all sixes. Fucking brilliant.
There's a
Still
50-yard
somehow
gap in between them.
Still somehow managed to lose a goal from out wide.
Yeah. No, a bit of a sad message. Lisa Conway said, I'm sick of paying over 1K a season for season tickets for the family to say every season it can only get better and to trust the process, seriously losing the will with what is going on at the club we love. That's yeah. And then
I think
Dylan
there'll be
also
a lot
said
of people
400
in that
quid for a
boat, though.
season ticket. Yeah, it's the type of thing I used to like a couple of years back when people were cancelling their season tickets and stuff. I did think it was a bit like get behind the club, but it's a lot of money to follow a team. And I know it does seem very what's the word reactionary to kind of throw the toys at a pram, but it's people's livelihoods at the end of the day, and it is a lot of money. Um, Hibernian has said, I've decided to start drinking. If we don't get any more signings, we can maybe assume that's the actual club itself that's decided to start drinking. Um, but yeah, no. Um,
What's his name? I'm just Lewis McGurk. Be serious. Dwight Gale isn't signing for 2 grand a week. I've no idea. So he's out of contract. It was where was he? Derby, so it's probably like 10, 15, maybe 20. But he's 31, 32. I don't know. I've no idea. I've no idea what he'll play. But there's still an option, is all I'm saying. Right. So if there's options out there, we should look at them rather than having nothing on the bench. Listen, the positive thing is there is no chat about Ellie leaving.
Hey, there we go. There was
Right?
that guy with 48 followers who assured us that 3 different Ligue 1 clubs were bidding for him, so that's unfortunate. But aside for
And
that,
I think the club totally expected him to be away this window. So if it's not happened, then I think that's a positive thing. And I think if Hibs fans get their shit together and maybe as a club we start showing how much we appreciate the player, you might actually get yourself a 4 or 5 million pound player turning up every week and doing their best for the club and showing what we've got. So that's maybe a wee chat to the wee shites, the wee Twitter shites that are faceless accounts that spend their time or faceless Instagram accounts slagging off players for whatever reason. But if he's staying, we have to get behind him. We have to turn him into thinking he's a superstar player, so he brings out superstar performances. And then it doesn't fucking matter that we don't have Luke McCowan, to be honest. Because you just shill the ball out. Instead of shilling the ball out Miller, we shill the ball out Ellie and then just bish bash bush.
Yeah, it's difficult to see Ellie actually wanting to play for Hibs and wanting to give his all for Hibs and wanting to put his leg uh, in places that it doesn't shouldn't go for Hibs because he's got no level of attachment to the club that any of us do or sort of any maybe the youth players that have been around in and around the club for a while. Like if he's getting abuse, I didn't really blame him for no wanting to play for the club.
Aye.
What's going on in the last couple of days, especially, but
Yep.
also it's not just the last couple of days with the racist stuff as well. He's just been getting pelters for absolutely ages, because maybe he doesn't run back, which is it's a fair criticism, but there's a difference between criticism and abuse, and I think that he's been on the wrong end of that far too many times, and I don't blame the guy for not really wanting to play for Hibs. Hopefully, like you say, Dave, we can put the arm around him and coax him into putting performances on again for Hibs. But I wouldn't be surprised if he is nowhere near the player that we know he can be. I think if he stays, he will come back in and play. I just don't know if he's going to be at that level again because I don't think his head will be in it. And I think
the
he'll then
final
go in
moment
January.
the final moment for me when it came to Youan was I think it was St. Mirren away last season, and it was quite late in the game, and he tried to take on a player just inside their half, and he got tackled. They played 2 balls forward and scored, and people were saying Ellie Youan just lost us points. A a winger slash striker trying to get the ball into the far corner of the pitch so that they can't have it to then lose the ball and have 7 people behind them in Hibs kits unable to defend them whilst they go up and score. It's not the striker's fault. It was just at a stage last season where they were just blaming Youan for everything. It's yeah, he's been vilified for absolutely no reason, and I just do not understand it.
I,
And
I, don't- I, listen, I don't have an issue with criticising players, right? And I
yeah, of
have
course, yeah,
really, right. I'll criticise Joe Newell. I've even criticised Paul Hanlon. Right? That's how
Oh, yeah.
that's how bad I am. I've done it. I have
Liar.
done it. Craig. Don't look at me. I have done it. Right? But when it gets personal, then you need to have a fucking word with yourself, to be honest. And that's go and do something else. Just go and do as Big Curvy Nisbet from the Long Wangers would say, go and climb a fucking mountain. Right? Hibs isn't for you, football isn't for you, sport isn't for you. Go and do something else, right? That takes away your anger that you have to take out of human beings like that. But anyway, on the Hibs side, as I say, if he stays, I think it's a massively positive thing because I just assumed he'd be away, and I assumed we'd be looking to get 2 or 3 players in, couple of wingers in, a striker to cover that thing. You don't need a striker if he's staying because he can play up top, right? In the same way that the boy does as well, right? So I think we're fine. I think we're fine. I think we're coming out this window absolutely fine. We've signed Triantis and everything's fucking fantastic.
Tassos
So
Martinez finally actually kicked in, eh?
Well done, Ben.
Speaking of Ben, 22nd of February 2014, Ben Banks spoke with him in an exclusive interview for the Edinburgh Evening News, headlined Ben Kensell makes significant Hibs promise over football funds after Bill Foley investment in transfer hint. Ben Kensell has assured fans that significant funds will be available to Hibs football department after fresh investment. The Reister Road chief executive was at the heart of conversations that ended in Bournemouth's billionaire owner Bill Foley taking a minority stake in the club. Talks proceeded with the Gordon family. Blah blah blah. Where's the other good quotes? Yeah, essentially, what happened to that? What happened to it? Supporters need to rest assured that we don't intend to build a team of lone players. And in any event, the rules don't even allow it. But we will be collaborating with others to bring good players here to look at best practice at recruitment and talent development, at coach education, and a whole range of things designed to help our club get better and better. He said that 6 months ago, and unless we make a decent bit of movement in the next 6.5 minutes, he's massively failed us. And not him directly, because obviously he's got a whole team that works with him, but he is part of a team that has failed us.
We
Like
have bought 9 players, right?
we've brought 9 players, but we've not filled in gaps. Like I'm sorry, but I know it sounds daft because I've mentioned it that many times in the pod, but to go this long without having a left-sided centre back signed for a football club is a fucking embarrassment. It is. That is it. Like there's no arguing against that. 5,200,000 day or minutes, sorry, with it signing up. It's mental.
Your
Like
water
how is that possible? What?
your water bottle full of vodka.
Honest,
Oh,
I wish it was at this point, mate. I just can't believe we've been on here. Like, obviously, it's not the club's fault that media have been touting us to be signing players the whole week, and that's the reason why we think that we're going to have such a busy day. But even Gray in his interviews saying that he's hoping that we're going to have a busy end to the window. And it's just brutal. Apparently, we're still after a centre back, but it's going to be a loan signing. Like, Will Fish came good in the January, but he was pretty poor last year after he came back on loan again. Loans are hit or miss. Like, I said it at the start of August, going into August, you're not going to get first priority players in August. And if you do, you're going to be paying over the mug for it. And that's why Luke McCowan's went to Celtic. That deal should have been started in May, should have been signed off by June. It's as simple as that. I don't know the inner workings of a football club, but I know that leaving that deal to the last minute without having a strong contingency plan in place is a fucking disgrace. It's just not good enough.
the
Adam
problem,
Jackson's sorry, on
the
you go.
problem with contingency plans, right, is that right, they could have had a plan for McCowan not happening. But while McCowan's not happening, those players that they had in their plan are getting picked up by other teams, are getting moving on to something else. And that's what they talk about. And as much as I know it's all box on this, right, but when they talk about that, about the domino situation of a transfer window, that's exactly what happens, right? And it's easy to just say this is a fucking disgrace. We just signed him, whatever, right? Dundee didn't want to sell him, right? So unless you're going to go in there, where like Celtic have just done, and say there's 1 million plus add-ons, you weren't going to get them. So are we suggesting that Hibs should be going in and offering £1 million per players now? Because we've never done that for donkeys.
I know, so I'm not saying we should have done that. I'm just saying that when you put the third bid in, and they're saying, "Oh yeah, give us 2.5 weeks to get back to you, and we'll see if Celtic come in for a bid." They've taken the absolute mug for us.
But I don't think that was ever the case. As I said to you earlier on, I think that's been a constant discussion between Limbs and Ben Kensel about how you try and make the thing work, right? And Dundee knew what they were doing. They were desperately waiting for Celtic to make a bid, right? And they've come in at the last minute and we've been done over. And that's just business. It just works that way, right? We will get players in. There will be players coming in tonight. There will be. There 100% will be. We've been here before. And then suddenly, like, don't go anywhere, guys. We've got an announcement. No, that kind of shit, right? And we will sign Harry McCurdy on a 5-year deal. And everything will be amazing.
But your contingency plan also could be free agents as well.
Yeah.
So that might nothing could come of that tonight, and then we're all saying we had no contingency plan. It's a disgrace, but then the contingency plan just isn't a deadline day signing. So I suppose that definitely. I suppose that's what Dave's kind of hinting at. Has to be an element of caution
I'm
in
also
terms of
getting
your
the fact
criticism.
there's not more going out, Craig. That's what I was going to say. I thought there would be more going out.
Yeah, I also thought there would be more out. I think everybody did. That was basically that was hinted at, wasn't it? Although
I
I
thought
suppose, but we've had two going out today,
Rocky was an absolute certainty to go. So
especially if we're getting offered money. You think you would take it?
if he's not going, then I don't think they will sign a centre back. To be honest, I assumed he was going to go, and they would sign a left-footed guy in there. But if he's not going, then I don't think they will. I think we'll hear something very soon about a midfielder, and I'm desperately trying to find somebody in Bournemouth who plays midfield because the laddie
I don't think we
Kilkenny,
will get a
the
midfielder.
laddie Kilkenny went away somewhere else.
Or
Who I
did they?
thought he went somewhere yesterday or something.
Ugh. Aye.
Like as I say, there's got to be something out of this Bournemouth team. Otherwise, what is the point? There's no way we've pissed them off that much that they're not going to give us a single player. It sounds
Especially
like
after giving us someone the caliber of Marcondes. Surely they've got a player off an injury we can like even keep to January to get them back to fitness, eh? Like
it sounded like Bevan was completely set up, good to go, but he's not got through his injury, right? Which is fine and dandy, right? But again, goalkeeper, you mentioned it, right? Well, Neto is our captain. They brought in Kepa, loaned in from Chelsea. We've got Will Dennis and Mark Travers, who are both good enough to play for us, right? Defender wise, as I said earlier on, James Hill would do a job. I can't see him letting go many others in that first team. Bevan's out. Midfield, Ryan Christie. That's not going to happen. That's nonsense. Uh, Alex Scott,
he still gets a game for them, does he know?
Marcus Tavernier, 20 million. Aye, Ryan Christie's still like an £8 million player down there. So Tyler Adams is like still a £6-7 million player. Still getting around. David Brooks is injured. So forwards, Eva Nielsen is gone else. They've just brought him in. So Enes Ünal, the Turkish player, they spent 20 million on him, so he's not coming up here. There's nothing in that first team that's going to come, right? So then you look at the development squad, and the development squad seems to have been chopped down because they've released so many players. Aye, so the forward players I've got there are not players that I was looking at before. So at the forward line, you're looking at a laddie called Remy Vries Doughton, who's a forward player who can play on either side. He can also play on a 9, play on a 10. 13 assists last year in the kind of, I don't know what they call it, the Prem 2 or something.
Yeah, Prem too.
Playing 13 assists, 8 goals, right? He's a handy player, right? So you're looking at something like that would come in and it would be good off the bench, right? But midfield wise, I don't know. Lewis Brown, maybe? I don't know.
Aye.
Maybe this is what Hibs were doing 20 minutes ago, just doing the exact same thing, just going through Wikipedia, be like, oh, could we sign him? Could we sign him?
Kind of thing saying, "Aye, Dave should be the sport director." I there you go. I'm just doing the job there now. Well,
Aye.
we're smoking a massive bifter.
Hey. All right. Well, boys, thanks so much for joining. Liam, thank you for when you were on as well, my friend. Everybody in the YouTube comment section, you definitely helped with keeping us going. Obviously, pretty underwhelming, as Dave alluded to, as Craig alluded to, as I'll allude to now. The hope would be that there's a couple of bodies that have signed the paperwork, but just haven't kind of got themselves ready to be announced yet. That hopefully by the time we wake up in the morning, we will see at least an extra body or two. Pat McPartland saying that we're still working on getting the centre back. Obviously, disappointing not to have Luke McCowan in, as we discussed at the start of the video. But on we go to Kilmarnock. It's the next big thing. If you have enjoyed watching, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. I've seen we've went up a massive 17 subscribers since we started, guys. So massive thanks for that. And Dave, thanks so much for coming on. It was much appreciated.
All
Talking
day.
nonsense and drinking martinis with us. We love to see it. And thanks so much, everybody, in the
Guys. It's also
YouTube comments. We'll catch you guys next time. We'll be
Nice
back on Monday, probably.
nice
Right.
to hang out with the young guys, and so it's always good.
Hey, hey. Goodbye.
All right, guys. See you later.
And I think that is us offline. Aye. Fucking hell.